Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not
You will bring the jury.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy, do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
The wrong guy. The dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case.
Literally not.
Is that correct?
Not him, he Anglican, please. Oh, for Trump's sake. I didn't ask you to interrupt me.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I'm the Recovery Addict. Happy Tuesday to you. Making it one day at a time through the work week. Thank you all. I noticed that our internet owner deleted the internet ownership message, which I had saved. So I show that Marianne R65 was the winner, but I don't know if she's still the winner. Glass is a new thing. Thanks for paying attention, greeters. Just this month, being the month of November, we're on day 2. Just kidding. Marianne R65, you are the owner of the internet. I believe, let me just say, I believe you commented first and second, which makes you the internet owner. Congratulations, Marianne R65. I'm sending you to internet ownership for your promptness, for your punctuality. I think this might be a first offense for you, which is probably why you're so excited about it. You don't know what's involved in the penalty, but it is. So if you think, Marianne, if you think court is not fair, if it's tilted and it's not in your favor, it's because it actually is. Court is, someone's leaning on the scales of justice, and the whole courtroom is crooked this morning. So we'll get to that in a minute. But big responsibility. You're going to do fine, though. You're going to do fine. There are very few complaints, and if there are any complaints, they go to you and not to me. So, you can sort of sweep those under the rug and just say it was all good. There'll be no problem. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I debated telling you a story, and I'm going to wait. I'm not going to tell you that story. So, Cloudflare is down. Yes. X is down. This is my story. I think I broke it. X released their new Grok 4.1, and they're like, here, try me. And I'm like, I'm going to put it to the test. And I gave it a challenge and a half to create. And mid creating the challenge, it just locked up. It froze. I broke Grok. I broke the internet. Marianne, can you take care of that? That would be great. All right. I told it to imagine, I think is the word they want me to use. Imagine a man walking to the post office box, which happens to be numbered 775. Coincidentally, not it's because it's, relevant to anything in actuality. And excited to open the post office box. And he opens the post office box to find an entire world, like a little office community inside his box, miniature, like tiny people who are processing the mail. And, we're talking like sunset, golden hour, glow coming from the box, illuminating his face with anticipation, and then seeing that their little outbox was empty and a frowny face and a sad man. I never got to see that video. Grok broke trying to create it. Anyway, I was going to post, this is me checking the mailbox. An office community in a P.O. box. Yes. My first attempt was not as successful. I told it to imagine an office like inside a P.O. box where a guy goes to get his mail, and it created one that showed a secretary in probably not secretary attire. Usually they have sleeves. But she's like sitting in a box, like it's a moving box. The guy opens the front and he hands her the mail. And I'm like, okay, that's not what I had in mind. That wasn't quite the whole picture. She's life size. It's a big mailbox. Now that just looks cruel. It looks better if they're miniature people. But chat's not on screen. Fixed it. All right. Welcome. Anyway, that was my morning. I broke Grok. I am sorry. Move over, Stephen Geek. All right, coming through. Really. All right. Paula Mack, thanks for this reminder. One of Amber's cousins was in chat yesterday. Amber. Anna's? I'm mixing up my cases. Are we talking about Brian Walsh or the one we're watching right now? But yes, thank you for the reminder. We love family members here. We try to make this a place where they can watch court if they're not there in person and have a good experience as far as that can go. Obviously, we can't change what happens in court, but have a good experience. Okay, I was confusing the Brian Walsh one, I think. Thank you very much for that. We'll watch for that. All right. Miss Texas Chick says, it's my daughter's birthday, Lacey, along with Mickey Mouse. And it's Kelsey Fitzsimmons' birthday today. If only we had some sort of chart we could track these on. Red Pen, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Red Pen's running around like crazy. You're amazing. We're going to sing to Kelsey Fitzsimmons and Lacey. And by we, I mean all of us. If only we had a birthday for him, right? I mean all of us. So wherever you are, if you're listening, you are now part of the choir. You've been recruited. I don't care if you don't sing, if you're not a singer, if you don't think you sing well. You sing well enough to sing with us. We're going to sing happy birthday to Kelsey Fitzsimmons and Lacey. And everyone stand up, take a deep breath, shoulders back, project your voice to the back of the room, blend your voice with your neighbor, and warm up with me if you will. La 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 la. Perfect. You're ready. You can do this. This is a passive-aggressive birthday song. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Kelsey Fitzsimmons and Lacey and Mickey Mouse. Happy birthday to you. There we go. Happy birthday, Kelsey Fitzsimmons, Lacey, and Mickey. Happy birthday. I realize there are many wonderful days. Today is your special day. There are a million places you could have been and a million people you could have celebrated with, especially if you went to Disneyland. But no, you chose to be here with us. The privilege, the pleasure, the honor is ours. Hopefully we return some of the joy that we feel back to you. Make your day a little more specialer. Begin by helping yourself to free pancakes at Denny's, IHOP Village Inn, Waffle House, McDonald's, Tammy Dunlap's house, Bob Evans, Andy's Grill, Cracker Barrel, and probably Disneyland. No. Don't sue me, Disneyland. There's nothing free there. Parking will cost you like your first child mortgage. Not a sponsor, if you didn't know. Not a sponsor. But I don't even know if you can get pancakes. Can you buy pancakes at Disneyland? They're going to be like goofy things. I don't know what they are. All right. There we go. As the dancers continue, the judge is coming in. Obviously, she just finished singing. Yep, we are leaning just a little bit. The ship is tilting to the right. Yes, she's noticing that. As pencil will roll off her desk. And then we pan to the right. And it seems to right itself. It's almost like our tripod itself is crooked. And every time we turn, yeah. Can't do anything till the defendant gets here. So grab your drumsticks while we wait. We'll finish off the birthday song in style. The air drum finish. You know it's coming. There it is. Sorry, Judge, you have to wait. It's the air drum finish. There we go. All right, Judge, you can begin now. We're here.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Judge Sonia Brown, and the presiding judge for this jury trial calendar
And
for
the audio
Monday,
was
November
jacked.
17th at 9 a.m. Position 1, Matthew Scott Lanz. Good morning.
We're doing what we can to fix it.
Okay, I just need to call. I have a couple things on the calendar, so just want to make sure you all are ready.
We are ready.
Okay,
Hang on.
Position 2, Jamarcus Blackman.
Hang on. Hold, please. How did we get on yesterday? Can somebody tell me? Fixed it. It's not me making a mistake. I caught it. I'm the one who caught it. Nobody said it in chat, so this was me. Why don't we bring someone with more experience? All right. The truth is we have 2 minutes.
Send someone with more experience.
Just did a time warp. I fixed everything. Now I have to go back and undo everything I just did to the audio because I rapidly was doing fixes. Now they're going to come in with a different setup, and it will be bad. Let's do a reset there and a reset here. There we go. All right, so scratch all that. All that was terrible.
Scratch all that. Oh, that was terrible. I apologize.
We are about ready to go back to court. We're on day 2, part 1. It's just a test. It was just a test. You guys all passed. Yeah, that was yesterday. I remember Demarcus Blackman being in position 2. Redman, thank you very much. Oh, man. It's been one of those mornings. Take 2. At least we didn't miss something, right? It could have been worse. Could have been much worse. Last night I was staying up late looking, actually. There's a court case coming up. I'm debating about going to, but I don't have the dates yet. Obviously, I think the arraignment's tomorrow, right? It may be extremely high profile in a weird way, but nobody's talking about it. At least nobody in our circle sort of thing appears to be talking about it. There's the judge. She's like, hey, it's not tilted today. That's awesome. It's like, my pencil's not rolling off the desk. My mouse just stays right there. It's really cool. Thanks for not having a desk lean. Yeah, it is. Just stays right there. I'm reading her lips. So sometimes I play with my ring and roll it on the table. She's listening to somebody. I can't see them. She's like, yeah, me too. I have no idea what she's saying, guys. I'm not a lip reader. She said thank you. That was accurate. And she grabbed one of a billion pens she keeps next to her monitor. Anyway, there's a that's a wild setup, though. It makes me jealous. Bobby, thank you very much. I do love this setup. I'm debating right now as the judge counts off this little piggy went to market on her hands. That I'm debating the next upgrade to the studio. I feel that I can't stop, right? I should always do things to make the channel a little bit better. And even though most of courts don't yet have 4K video for court, I'm pushing that direction. So that if we are either the cameraman in court, which we haven't really pushed hard, even though we've got some equipment to go that direction, if for the cameraman we can offer it in 4K and have just a cooler experience that way. She's talking about a dream she had last night. She said she was a swimmer. She had to go back and forth in the pool 5 times. And everyone was watching. I was a team captain. I went back 3 times. And I started to get tired. And started to drown a little bit. And then I woke up. And that was the end. Oh, interesting. She tells some good stories. If somebody else can lip read a little better than me, that would be great because I have no idea what she's talking about. We'd love to be able to hear as well. No pool with that hair. Oh, awesome, Becca. little cousin just sworn in yesterday to become a real-life attorney. That is awesome. Passed the bar. That is an experience he's not going to forget. Tinez, welcome to the gallery. Thank you very much. Why stop at 4K? We could go straight to 8. As long as she doesn't say vacuum. Yes, that's good. It's hard. It is hard to read lips. I'd really like to be able to hear right now if somebody may be in court. And if there's an audio guy, you could probably make that happen. Francis Fitzgerald, watch the bus chase. Glad you got rid of the talking super chats. They were creepy. Oh my goodness, I remember that. We never got burned. We never got burned with a talking super chat where he came in yesterday. He's our witness. Man, it would be great to hear this. I like audio. Do you like audio? Well, let's do a little fix then really quickly. We'll get this audio. Hang on. Don't worry. We're going to get it. Matthew Lanz.
Your Honor, how are you employed?
I'm employed with Cobb County Police.
Audio doesn't match yet.
Right now I'm a sergeant with the patrol division.
Oh. Prior to
Hold tight.
Today or now, what were you doing back in 2021?
I was working with the Crimes Against Persons Unit in the Major Crimes Bureau.
I just want to remind those who are on Zoom that you need to remain muted unless you are specifically directed to speak by the court or asked by one of the attorneys. Again, please mute your devices. We're getting feedback into the courtroom, and if we continue to get feedback, again, Zoom is a courtesy. We will have to turn the Zoom off, and the court does not want to do that because I know there are people who want to observe, but we cannot have any interference from those who are on Zoom during these proceedings. I apologize, AD agree, we may continue.
Thank you
it's
very
still
much,
off
Your
just
Honor.
a tiny
Were
bit.
you a detective with the Major Crimes Division?
I was.
And were you involved in this investigation involving the murders of Timothy and Amber Hicks?
Yes.
Did you respond to the scene on November 18th of 2021?
Yes.
And was your supervising sergeant at that time Sergeant Mark Gaskey?
Yes.
All right. During the course of your time on scene, did you assist with the collection of 3 shell casings?
I did.
Okay. Why is it that you were specifically assisting with the collection of those 3 casings?
At the time that I was a detective, I was also the task force officer with ATF, and we were going to send those casings away to retrieve DNA, and so I collected them in a manner that was consistent with collection procedures to be able to obtain DNA.
Okay. Was that somewhat different than the normal collection procedures when you're sending something off to GBI?
Yes.
No, you don't have a picture yet.
Why specifically were y'all using ATF's crime lab in this case?
They were a resource afforded to us because of the TFO position that I held at the time, and the lab was more thorough than our normal GBI testing.
Were they also able to expedite this in a substantial way?
Yes.
And is that because at the time this was we did not have a known perpetrator back on November 18th of 2021?
Correct.
Right. Prior to testifying this morning, did you have the opportunity to open States Exhibits 602, 603, and 604 that were tendered yesterday?
I did.
Okay. And did you open those in the presence of Defense Counsel, Mr. Jimmy Berry?
Yes.
Within those packages of States Exhibits 602, 603, and 604, were there smaller manila envelopes?
Yes.
All right. And did you recognize both the smaller envelopes as well as the larger envelopes?
Yes.
Are those in fact the casings that you specifically collected and packaged for the ATF on November 18th of 2021?
Yes.
Right. And I know you said that there was a specific manner to collect them when
It's
you
taken a while to sync.
knew
Just
you
for a
wanted
second.
to test them for DNA. What is that manner or method?
The manner is opening a sterile swab, basically turning it around and using the wooden end to pick up the shell casing, and then placing it inside the smaller envelope and sealing it immediately.
That's the best I can do right now.
Very
Sorry.
good. And is that what you did in this case?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to show you first state 602 on the screen here. Is this both the larger package and smaller package that you assisted packaging for ATF?
Yes.
All right. And if I zoom in here down at the bottom, what type of casing was this?
9mm caliber, and the manufacturer's SIG, S-I-G.
Now looking at state 603 here, both the larger package and then also zooming into the smaller package here. What type of casing was in 603?
9mm caliber and same manufacturer of SIG.
And here where we have the name Howell, who is Howell?
That's Jennifer Howell, the crime scene technician at the time.
Was she working under the direction of Sergeant Mark Gaskey?
Yes.
What are we counting this trial?
604 here, and then zooming into the smaller manila envelope. What type of casing was the third casing collected from 5059 Verbena?
Caliber 9mm manufacturer SIG.
And then finally, during the course of gathering these items for potential DNA evidence, did you send your own buccal swabs in?
I did.
Okay, and what was the purpose of that?
That is for elimination purposes, because during collection, sometimes there's inadvertent transfer of DNA, so that way the lab is able to distinguish DNA.
Now, when you use a sterile swab, are you also using gloves?
Correct.
Okay. So do you take measures to prevent your DNA from actually transferring onto items of evidence?
Yes.
Out of an abundance of caution, do you then also send your own buckles in the event that somehow your DNA did inadvertently end up on these casings?
Yes.
Right. Was that all collected and sent to ATF as well?
Yes.
Right. Give me just a moment. That's all I have. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Mr. Barry, you may proceed.
Good morning, Sergeant.
Morning, sir.
A couple of questions. Was there anything gleaned from the DNA, any DNA off the cartridges?
I just collected the casing, sir. I'm not sure. I wasn't the main casing.
Okay, so you just did the collection, but you don't know whether anything was ultimately found?
Yes, sir. I just did the collection.
Okay. Were there any other items that you collected when you were on the scene back on November the 18th?
No, sir. The only things that I had my hands on specifically was the shell casings, which I collected in this particular manner, and then everything else was done by the crime scene technician, to my knowledge.
Okay. And crime scene unit didn't give you anything to have tested by any other lab or anything of that nature?
No, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ayden. Are there any other questions for this witness?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
This witness be excused.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Have a good day. Stay safe.
I know.
Sergeant Mark Gaskey, and the one that I referenced.
Okay, thank you. All right, State, you may call your next witness.
The state calls Detective Ronson Smith.
Sort of flying through the witnesses here. They're going fast. I wonder if prosecution, when they scheduled when they planned out the schedule for this case, if they had planned on the defense asking very few questions.
Your office step out to...
It's very likely that this is a little ahead of schedule.
Stepped into the restroom. I don't think you realized how short the first witness was.
Time for a little break. I'm also curious if the defendant is going to speak. He's been present only. I guess that's the best way to put it. He's been present. But even then, not really participating in his defense. His lawyer doesn't even appear to be talking to him much. So I'm not sure if he's interested in spouting off his own defense in his own words.
You do solemnly swear or affirm that
Probably be in the narrative.
report on the issue now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Can you please have a seat for me? And once seated, if you would please state and spell your true and correct legal name for the record.
It's Bronson Smith, and it's spelled R-O-N-S-O-N, and the last name is Smith, common spelling S-M-I-T-H.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Day one had powerful testimony from the victim's father.
Currently employed with the Cobb County Police Department as a reserve police officer.
What does it mean to be a reserve police officer?
I have retired in 2017 and returned in 2019 to a position that I had occupied prior to my retirement.
So do you still do detective work?
I do.
All right, and what unit are you assigned to?
Overall, the umbrella of the major crimes unit, more specifically to the technology-based crimes unit.
Wonderful. And the technology-based crimes unit, I know you said you were in that position before retirement and returned to it. So how many years total have you worked? Oops. Okay.
It was the witness's phone.
That's okay. I can re-ask the question. All right. So you said that you were previously in a division prior to retirement and then returned to that same division. How many years total have you been with the technology-based crimes unit?
Since 2009. So.
15, 16 years, something like that. And what are your primary job responsibilities with the technology-based crimes unit?
Primarily, I'm in there for forensic video analysis and acquisition, and up until recently, I was doing mobile device forensics and some light computer forensics.
All right, very good. I want to focus with this case on the forensic video acquisition and analysis. What does that mean?
I thought it was him.
It's a scientific approach and methodology to making evaluation of recording systems and the footage that's recovered from surveillance systems, comparisons in some cases, and examining those systems to make sure they're operating correctly.
Did you start your focus in this area of forensic video acquisition and analysis prior to joining the technology-based crimes unit in 2009?
Yes, from 1998 until 2009, I was a member of the major case unit, robbery and homicide. And this forensic video analysis and acquisition came as a result of my casework in there. In 2002, I introduced to the Cobb County Police Department an idea that we could do better with surveillance video that we were receiving. And at that time, I promoted the idea of purchasing a non-linear video editing suite of tools and hardware.
NLE, non-linear editing.
Non-linear video editing suite of tools.
It's like Final Cut.
We did make that purchase, and I was trained with
that
vendor that we made the purchase from, and then began an introduction into the training and the utilization of those tools. That was in the video cassette days, when surveillance video was not digital, and then have progressed into current day technology.
This is nonlinear editing. Good stuff.
You've referenced some training that you've had. Approximately how many hours of training have you received in the field of forensic video acquisition and analysis over the years?
I would say over 200 hours. Much of it early on I didn't necessarily keep up with, but there were some of that is vendor training, and some of it is technical training through organizations such as the Law Enforcement and Emergency Services Video Association. Acronym for that is LEVA. They're one of the primary areas for receiving training. I attended a couple of their conferences, 2002 and 2003. These are week-long conferences usually with workshops in the evenings or on the weekend before the actual conferences start. So it's a number of hands-on type training situations. Plus reading the vendors' work and the scientific working group on imaging.
Bench trial, no jury on this one.
Is also a good resource for
the judge will decide.
Skills.
Excellent. You've also referenced that you promoted this suite of tools for Cobb County Police Department to use. Is there a specialized tool that's more prominent today that you use when conducting forensic video acquisition and analysis?
Yes. Currently, there's Axon. The company Axon has purchased what was a tool that we had bought at Cobb County called Input Ace, and now Axon has purchased that company. It's now called Investigate Pro, and it's a suite of software that we still use for digital surveillance video analysis.
And is that suite of tools from Investigate Pro approved by industry standards such as LEVA?
It does meet industry standards.
Now, the steps in acquiring video and analyzing video and the results that you achieve thereof, are those able to be repeated by somebody who has your same training and skill?
Yes, it's one of the goals when I approach a case is that any work product as a result of my analysis, that work product could be repeated by someone with my same skill set and the same software or hardware.
How many hours of your time currently is spent with forensic video acquisition and analysis?
Pretty much 100% of my time. I don't work full time. It is a part-time job, but basically 29 hours a week.
And have you spent roughly 29 or more hours a week on this focus since about 2009?
Well, from 2009 until my retirement, it was split between mobile device forensics and forensic video analysis, and that was full time. Since I've been back, so only when my time is more limited.
Sure. How many cases have you handled that have involved forensic video acquisition and analysis, approximately?
Well, into the hundreds. I've calculated at one point some years ago about 125 cases a year when I was full time. I don't necessarily log each one, but as a primary function, it's hundreds.
How many hours of video have you acquired and analyzed over the course of your career?
Well, each one of those cases, and in many circumstances, the casework may involve a single system, but that's fairly unusual. It usually leads to the need for pulling video from other sources. In so many cases, may contain 5, 10, 20 locations where you've pulled video from, whether it's pertinent or not to the case, but it's thousands of hours.
Have you ever been tendered as an expert in video acquisition and analysis?
I have.
Okay. How many times?
Dozens.
And does that include here in Cobb County?
It does, primarily for Cobb County.
Judge, we had no problem tendering him as an expert.
Wonderful. We'll go ahead and tender him as an expert
Defense
in video
stipulates.
acquisition and analysis.
Right, and so
So now he's an expert. Now we can
Detective
speculate.
Stewart will be treated as an expert in forensic video analysis and acquisition.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, as part of you, were you involved in this investigation of the murders of Justin and Amber Hicks?
I was.
What was your primary function in this investigation?
It is normally the case where I will learn of these types of incidents normally the day after, and I'll be briefed on circumstances or needs where they believe that I may be able to fulfill the role. In this case, it was the role of determining if there were surveillance video that could play a role in determining potentially access and egress from the location of the crime, and for any vehicles or persons that might be seen in the area.
In this particular case, did you, along with other detectives, conduct a canvass of the residential neighborhood?
Canvass was conducted, yes, and I did participate in that.
And as a result, were surveillance videos or surveillance video footage recovered from a number of residences?
Yes, video was recovered from several locations.
Your Honor, at this time, per the stipulation, the state is going to tender State's Exhibit 462. In stipulation number 5, it reads that State's Exhibit 462 is a true and accurate copy of the surveillance video footage recovered from 581 Delphinium Boulevard, Ackworth, Georgia 30102. The state is also going to move to tender State's 463. Per stipulation number 6, it reads State's Exhibit 463 is a true and accurate copy of the surveillance video footage recovered from 5064 Verbena Drive, Ackworth, Georgia 30102. The state is also moving to tender State's Exhibit 464. Per stipulation 7, State's Exhibit 464 is a true and accurate copy of the surveillance video footage recovered from 5050 Verbena Drive, Ackworth, Georgia 30102. So we're moving on States 462, 463, and 464.
Defense?
That's correct, Judge. We've got an opportunity to use those, and that's per stipulation.
Great, thank you. State's Exhibits 462, 463, and 464 as stipulated in paragraphs 5, 6, and 7 are admitted.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Now, Detective, did you recognize the addresses I just named?
I did.
All right, and have you personally gone through and analyzed the surveillance footage recovered from those 3 locations?
I have, yes.
In doing so, did you create smaller clips of pertinent time frames?
Yes, I did.
All right, and prior to testifying, did you have the opportunity to look at State's Exhibit 465 called Concatenated Surveillance Video?
Yes, I did.
And did you recognize all of these smaller clips contained within that folder on the state's master drive?
Yes.
Are all of those video clips, did all of those originate from State's Exhibit 462, 463, and 464, the complete surveillance videos from those 3 addresses?
Yes.
At this time, State moves to tender State's 465 into evidence, and for the record, within State's 465, they are labeled A through O.
I thought it was my glasses, sir. I'm sorry. It might have been yours.
Okay.
I cleaned mine.
State's Exhibit 465 as labeled A through O are admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next, Detective, I'd like to show you State's Exhibit 475 through 478. I know you looked at these prior to testifying, but they were not numbered at the time, so I'll give you another opportunity.
I'm going to put a limiter on here. She tends to get pretty loud. Just take that top edge of the sound off, if that's all right. You have to turn the volume up because she wanders around the courtroom and then she yells into the microphone and makes us all deaf.
Same images I looked at earlier.
Okay. And these images, are these maps?
Yes.
And do these maps include the addresses where surveillance video was acquired?
Yes, they do.
And then are those fair and accurate maps showing this general neighborhood and area in addition to the addresses in which you acquired video?
Yes.
State moves to tender states 475 through 478.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor, we view those.
Thank you. States 475 to 478 are admitted.
May I publish these, Your Honor?
Yes.
All right, so we are going to start with States Exhibit 475 here. You have your little TV in front of you as well, Detective. So in States 475, what are the two addresses that are identified on this map?
5059 Verbena Drive and 600 Delphinium Boulevard.
And the 5059 Verbena address, whose residence was that?
The ex-residence at the time.
And then the 600 Delphinium, what was the significance of that address?
It's the Lanz residence.
And despite the Lanz residence having a Delphinium Boulevard address, what street did their driveway come off of?
On Verbena Drive.
And then the Hicks's residence, where is their driveway located?
On Verbena.
And so is that where I'm indicating the two driveways on Verbena?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, since we are going to see some footage kind of further up the street, I want to look at States 476 here. Are you, I know it's not pinned, but do you also still see 5059 Verbena and 600 Delphinium?
Yes.
If you travel north up Verbena, were there any other addresses of interest where we will be seeing surveillance video?
I believe 5064 Verbena Drive is visible in that, just out of the curve.
Okay. Right here?
I believe so.
Okay. And so it's on the opposite side of the street as our two primary residences?
It is.
Okay. And then kind of to really get our bearings here, looking at States 477 here, what is the major roadway that these neighborhoods are, or this neighborhood is off of?
Bells Ferry Road.
Okay. Now from Bells Ferry Road, can you take Larkspur to get onto Verbena and make it down to the two addresses of interest?
Yes, you could.
And then is there also a way to access these addresses from Delphinium Boulevard?
Yes, Delphinium runs directly off of Bells Ferry.
And are those the two primary entry and exit points for Bells Ferry from this neighborhood? And then finally, jumping ahead a little, we will be looking at video from 581 Delphinium. Where is 581 Delphinium?
581 in this image is at the corner of Dahlia Way and Delphinium Boulevard.
Okay.
And in this image on the upper or the northern side of the roadway.
Okay, and so is this where I'm pointing right here?
Yes, that is 5.
Okay, and so kind of similarly, despite that it has a Delphinium address, where does its actual driveway hit?
On Dahlia Way.
And going back just briefly to States 477 here.
Is it upside down?
Okay.
No.
Although it's not marked, is this tiny little cul-de-sac?
Yes, that's Dahlia Way on the north side of the roadway.
Okay. And so if you cross Dahlia Way, can you make it back out onto Bells Ferry?
Yes.
now that we have our bearings a little bit here, oh, and you know, I should go back briefly. We look at State's Exhibit 475. What residence is directly across from the Hicks's residence?
5050 Verbena Drive has a driveway that is directly across the street from the 5059 Verbena driveway.
And is that one of the videos or one of the homes that you have also obtained footage that we will be looking at?
Yes.
So now I want to move forward to the surveillance clips. Your Honor, do I have permission to start publishing these clips?
Yes. You may proceed.
I don't think any of these videos are extremely easy to watch and decipher, even with the software they use. If you got poor audio and it's barely captured in the stream, in the video's view, or poor video and it's barely captured, there's just not much you can do, especially if it's poorly lit and everything. So I think piecing it together, they can use all the information and see what happened. But
so looking here, starting at the very beginning, was there footage that you were able to review and analyze showing that Hicks actually arriving home on November 17th of 2021?
Yes, my initial video analysis was conducted on the video from 5050 Verbena.
5050, thank you.
And that footage, having been obtained, was on a drive, and it appeared to be a camera that stored the footage on an SD card. And from that SD card, the files were visible. And so I began reviewing, and 1906, I believe, was approximately the time when there was a vehicle, truck, that arrived at the Hicks address.
And how many individuals came out of that truck that arrived there at 1906?
There were 3 individuals, 2 adults, and a child.
And when we're saying 1906, is that 7:06 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So we will begin by publishing States 465A.
looks like it's looking through a screen. That's bright.
That was the entirety of A. I should ask you, Detective, the timestamp that we can see in the bottom right quadrant of this video, was that an accurate timestamp?
I believe so, yes.
And Your Honor, while it's probably less pertinent for this video, it certainly would be helpful in the other videos if we turn down the lights a little, because the lighting can be difficult.
As my science teacher would say every time before we watched a movie, no necking. Seriously, that was my science teacher.
There we go. All right. Next, we will publish
Didn't know what that was.
465B, which is a continuation.
Oh my goodness.
State's now publishing 465C. And states 465D.
Look how happy the little boy was running into the house.
I'll stop states 465D at 45 seconds, the timestamp on the video being 19:019:47. I'll go back once more, start states 465D, zoomed in on the Hicks's vehicle. And I'll stop that at 32 seconds, the timestamp on the video being 19:019:34. Detective, was this, did you have any other footage of Justin, Amber, or Jacob alive through your analysis?
No, nothing that would actually, you could physically see them and it appeared to be them.
Nothing that showed their person?
Correct.
From there, what was the next time that you saw relevant video surveillance? What time frame?
The most relevant for the investigation was 9:21 p.m.
And before we get there,
I apologize. At the residence or any?
Anywhere.
Okay. So 9:20. Yes, in the 9:20 hour.
And the military time is at 9:21.
21:20. Yes.
Very good. Before we get there, let me show you one other image. States 480 here. Do you recognize States 480?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and how is it that you recognize States 480?
This is a printout of digital image that I produced for the purposes, and I felt it was important to have a daylight view of the camera view that we were able to obtain from the residents across the street from the Hicks residence, only because it kind of emphasizes the point we don't get to choose the camera placements. We don't get to choose what equipment is used, and we don't get to choose how someone chooses to cover their property with cameras. And in this case, it's unfortunate that this camera was behind, on the interior of a home, behind double pane glass and a screen, shooting out, covering their driveway. And for their purposes, for those residents' purposes, that was probably what they wanted in order to cover their property, maybe vehicles that they leave in their driveway. But it did create difficulties, and so I created this image to show a daylight view of the challenges of this video.
So at this time, state moves to tender States 480 into evidence.
Any objection? States 480 is admitted.
Sorry to be lying and switch over, but if we can, thank you. So just so that we see before getting too much further here, States 480, is that the video footage or the camera angle that we just observed in States 465A through D?
It is, and this obviously is a daytime view with probably the best lighting, early morning light, depicting the actual, another indication was to show some of these, what was in the background, some of the landscape, some of the shrubbery, some of the trees, because in the nighttime images, they are very, very difficult to depict or to pick out of the images.
And so this kind of speckling or pattern that we see overlaid on this image, is that from the screen that you described?
It is from an actual screen mounted on the outside of a double pane window, and this camera is actually somewhat kind of pressed up against the interior glass. What this doesn't depict is that at night, when there's ambient light from inside the house.
I'm going to mute him for just a second. You guys, I am monitoring the Brian Walsh situation. Brian Walsh has changed his plea on 2 of the counts, on 2 and 3. He's still going forward on the first count, which is the murder count. The trial is going forward. He's not pleading guilty to everything. I'm keeping an eye on that, but he is sort of isolating that charge just to murder. So the disposing of the body and stuff is separate. So I'm keeping an eye on that. I will follow that and let you know what happens.
And we will
continue to, yes. Now, was that as detrimental to A through D showing the Hicks ride home?
It was not because of the abundance of light produced by the headlights, produced the fact that it's a large vehicle arriving, that lights were automatically turned on. The garage door ambient light is coming out into the driveway, so that creates a much clearer ability to see.
Will we see more difficulty as we go through the other footage?
We will.
All right, now kind of going back briefly to your expertise in this area, given the thousands of hours that you've observed surveillance footage systems, do you have a keen eye for things such as movement or objects or persons?
Yes.
And to be clear for the court, in terms of any persons seen on any of the following surveillance clips that we're going to show, are you able to definitively make any form of person identification?
No.
Are you able to see human beings?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so if we can switch back over to the computer here. We will continue with State's Exhibit 465E. Now before, let's see, I'm going to pause it first at 00 on the video. The timestamp of the video is 21:20 and 20 seconds. Now that timestamp that we see in the upper left corner of the video footage, was that an accurate timestamp?
Yes, it was.
And this view that we see here, I'm not going to switch back to the map right this moment, but where was this home located?
5064 Verbena Drive.
Was that the residence that if you traveled north on Verbena, you would see it on the
opposite side of the roadway from the Hicks and Lanz residence? Yes.
All right, very good. And so on this image where I paused it, we can see a roadway just past this this residence's driveway. Which roadway is that?
That is Verbena Drive.
And if you see a vehicle moving on the screen from right to left, what direction would it be headed towards?
Towards the intersection of Verbena, on Verbena, towards Delphinium, which is a four-way stop.
All right, very good. And I think this video is about 1 minute and 47 seconds here. What is the purpose of this clip in State's Exhibit 465E?
I just wanted to check yes. I was checking the name of the clip to make sure.
Yes.
But yes, this is a combined clip from both this camera initially here at 5064 Verbena and then at 5050 Verbena, showing the continuation not only of the first vehicle we will see, which was the Lanz vehicle, and the two following SUVs, which I believe continued on, and the reason for showing 50/50 in combination with this was that the two SUVs continue on Verbena Drive.
Okay, so ultimately, how many vehicles are going to drive past the camera at 5064 Verbena?
3.
Right, and then how many vehicles do you see past the camera at 5050 Verbena?
2.
What is the only intersection between 5064 Verbena and 5059 Verbena that Hicks' residence?
Delphinium Boulevard.
And so would the first vehicle that you see on past 5064 Verbena have to turn into either a residence or onto Delphinium to miss the 5050 camera?
Yes.
All right, so if we can now go ahead and publish State's Exhibit 465E. I'm going to pause the video with a timestamp of 21:20 and 29 seconds. We will talk about headlights and everything in just a moment, but first to play this through, is this the first vehicle that you indicated, the first out of the 3?
Yes, this is a dark sedan, yes.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute, but just to play it through. Pausing it with the timestamp of the video being 21:20 and 40 seconds. Is that the first SUV that follows the suspect vehicle?
It is.
Pause it again here with the timestamp of the video being 21:20 and 52 seconds. Is this the second SUV following the suspect vehicle?
It is.
Now pausing the video at 21:20 and 50 seconds. what camera have you now switched to in this combined video?
The camera located inside the upstairs window of the residence at 5050 Verbena, looking out over the driveway and the street.
And so looking directly across the truck there, what driveway is that?
That is the Hicks residence.
And then you can see at least a little bit of light here in this kind of area. What residence or street number is in that location?
Well, that is in the direction of the Lanz residence. It's 6. Look with the address that's off of Delphinium, however, the driveway is located on Verbena.
So, don't necessarily know the property line, but is that the next property you get to? The 600 Delphinium from 5059?
It is.
So we'll continue to play this. We'll then circle back to it in a few minutes. Pausing the video at 21, 21, and 11 seconds. Is this one of the SUVs previously seen passing 5064 Verbena?
Yes, I believe so.
Now pausing the video at 21, 21, and 26 seconds. Is that the second SUV that passed the 5064 Verbena address?
Yes.
That is the entirety of States 465E. Now, I know I've referenced the first vehicle. We've referenced it both as the Lanz vehicle as well as the suspect vehicle. Did you have an opportunity to look into the headlights and taillights of Mr. Lanz's vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. Was that vehicle brought to Cobb County Police crime shed?
It was at some point, and I simply requested that we make some photographs, hopefully from both ground level and elevated positions, simulating the height of the cameras on these residences.
So backing up just a little bit, at the time that you were able to do this, did police have custody of a vehicle known to belong to Mr. Matthew Lanz?
Yes.
And what type of vehicle was that?
I do not recall the make and model.
That's okay. Was it SUV, sedan, truck?
It was a sedan.
And did you, when you went back while this vehicle was in police custody to take photographs, talk to the court a little bit more about your purpose in photographing the vehicle in terms of lighting, height, and so forth?
In the past, during some of the training that I've received, there had been the usage of, or the detailing of headlight signatures potentially being utilized for the purposes of understanding what vehicles are entering access or egress to an area that may be pertinent to any particular investigation. This is a technique that I have used in the past in Cobb County investigations And I felt that it was significant in this case after I had noticed in playing back this footage and the footage from 581 Delphinium Boulevard, noticing some differences in the headlight pattern that was cast upon the ground by the headlamps. This is something that occurs particularly with older vehicles because over time we all know that we'll potentially have a headlamp go out. And when that's replaced, it may not be replaced with an exact matching headlight from the other side of the vehicle. It may be a different strength. There may be things that have occurred to the vehicle's body, front end, even slight bumping into a curb or into some fixed object may change or alter the position of a headlamp as it shines onto the ground. In this case, I had seen something that I felt like I wanted to see if it was recreated when we had the physical vehicle in the custody of the police, and I requested that they seek a warrant for the purposes of bringing that vehicle into a darkened area on our police campus at the time. And then I asked that a photographer have a ladder present where we might be able to simulate the height of these cameras that were mounted on the eaves of these homes, both on the home on Verbena, when I had found the vehicle, I believe to be the vehicle coming into the subdivision towards the scene of this crime, and then both on Delphinium Boulevard, the home that where the vehicle was leaving the area later. I was seeing something that I believed I might be able to identify.
And I know we haven't gotten to all of the surveillance clips yet, but in addition to seeing a particular vehicle, did you see some movement and changes in lighting in the same time period that were of interest to you?
Yes.
And is that part of why this particular vehicle stood out to you in all the surveillance clips?
Yes.
And is that what then led to taking these photographs of Mr. Lanz's vehicle with dark lighting on the police campus?
Yes.
All right, once again, I know you already looked at these photographs prior to taking the stand, but they were not numbered, so I'm going to pass it back to you. This is states 642 through 656. If you'll make sure you recognize those.
Yes, I recognize states 642 through 656.
Are these fair and accurate photographs of Mr. Lanz's vehicle that you had taken for purposes of observing the headlights and taillights?
Yes.
State moves to tender states 642 through 656 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor, we've had an opportunity to review those.
Thank you. States 642 through 656 are admitted.
May I publish, please? Yes. So looking first at 642, is this the Matthew Lanz vehicle?
It is.
All right, state 643 here. What specifically were you capturing in this photograph?
Just a view from behind the vehicle as its tail lights are illuminated, the tag light illumination, and the front casting of the headlights.
And then looking at state 644, is this a zoomed in photograph showing the taillights?
It is, yes.
Looking at state 645, did you have someone inside the vehicle for purposes of using the taillights?
Yes, to illuminate, to confirm there was a third tail light that illuminated when the brake pedal was depressed.
Then looking at state 646, what are you showing kind of from the side view with the brake lights initiated?
Just a different angle.
Are we also seeing that in state 647 and 648?
Yes, it's really about the angles that may be presented in the surveillance footage and making sure we have known images that were made by the police to compare those to.
Next, looking at 649, what area of the vehicle are we now documenting?
Attempting to document the cast on the ground of the headlight, what I refer to as the headlight signature.
Okay, and what was it of note? And I know this isn't the best image, but we do have some digital ones that we will get to. But what is it in particular that you were looking at? I believe I brought you the pointer if you'd like to scan it.
I have somehow messed it up, but let me.
That's okay.
Yes, if I may, just this area, almost forming what looks like a V, but no distinction on the opposite side.
Okay.
Showing a similar pattern.
Is this, looking at state 650, is that another image of that V mark created on the pavement?
It is.
All right. State 651, did you take additional angles or photographs of the vehicle?
Yes, I believe this one is obviously a little more direct onto the side, but also at a slight elevation.
Can you still see that V mark?
Yes.
All right. States 652. Again, is this a different angle?
It is slightly more towards the rear of the vehicle, slightly behind, looking down.
Okay, and can you point out that V shape again?
Yes, absolutely. It's projected here on the ground.
All right. And if you'll just stay standing for a moment, so 653, another angle, yet are you still able to see that V shape on the pavement?
Yes, it's becoming more defined at this point.
Okay. States Exhibit 654, is this a higher angle?
It is. This is from an elevated position on all that.
And are you still able to see the V shape?
Yes, it's very distinct.
Okay. State 655 and finally 656. Do you continue to see that V shape despite changing the angle of, or the height and angle that the photo was taken?
Yes, this was an attempt to see if that was reproduced at various angles.
Now, in order to fully conduct this comparison, did you also take still shots of the suspect vehicle from the surveillance footage?
Yes.
Okay. And prior to testifying, did you look at a folder on the master drive labeled screenshots of suspect vehicle headlights from surveillance video?
Yes.
And were the images, I believe it was the 10 images contained therein, fair and accurate screenshots that you personally took of the suspect vehicle from the various camera angles?
Yes.
At this time, state moves to tender states exhibit. $685 into evidence, and for the record, the 10 screenshots within are labeled A through I, so it states 685 A through I.
Any objection?
Let me just check to be sure what that is.
No.
Yeah, so don't switch over to the screen quite yet, that way I can pull it up. There we go. Jimmy.
No objection, Judge. Those are some that I saw earlier. I just wanted to be sure that they were the same.
Thank you. States Exhibit 685, labeled in 685 A through I. is admitted.
All right, may I publish those images?
Yes.
And are these images kind of easier to see digitally as opposed to printed, Detective?
Well, I believe so, yes.
So first publishing State's Exhibit 685A. Which vehicle is this screenshot of?
This is the Lanz vehicle.
And so all the 10 images that are contained in this folder, is this all the Lanz vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And so here, which camera angle are we looking at?
This is the 5064 Verbena driveway camera covering this residence's driveway.
And the timestamp of this screenshot, if you will, please.
21, 20, and 29 seconds.
In this screenshot labeled A, are you able to see that V shape on the pavement?
Yes, I am.
Can you please point that out for the court?
Certainly. Just here on the pavement, just in front of the, primarily the left side headlight.
So the driver's side headlight?
Yes.
Now looking at State's 685B, is this the same Lanz vehicle?
It is.
All right, and so the timestamp, is it actually the same exact timestamp as A?
Yeah, it's just a frame further.
And in this further frame here in State's 685B, can you point out that V shape on the page?
Certainly. It's occurring here.
Next, looking at, whoops, apologies. 685C, what have you done to take the screenshot in 685C?
Cropped out some of the side information for the purposes of potentially putting this into a presentation.
And are we going to get to that as well?
Yes.
Okay, very good. And so you still see that same V shape?
Yes.
All right, if you'll point it out, please.
Certainly. Just on the left side headlamp on the ground, cast on the ground.
Looking at State's 685D, what is it that you are capturing from this screenshot that also has the timestamp of 21/20/29?
The same thing. These are a series of images that I was utilizing for the purposes of potential use in presentation, determining for my purposes which one I felt most comfortable.
Okay. Are we also seeing the same in State's 685E?
Yes, a little less prominent in that angle.
Now looking at 685F, and I know we haven't gotten this far in terms of the actual videos, but what surveillance system are we now looking at?
581 Delphinium Boulevard. The residence that their driveway sits off of, the Dahlia Way. This is actually Delphinium Boulevard, and this is the front yard of that residence. And my interest in this particular house was, number one, I noticed the camera and I knew it was a high-end system, just based on the camera. The placement of the camera and the position that this house was built in was one of the shortest distances for a front lawn to the roadway. And so this became a primary home of interest for my understanding. This was actually the first video that I acquired because I believed that the point of access and egress to the crime scene was most likely on Delphinium Boulevard at the time. And so I chose and selected a large block of time from this residence to review and examine.
And in that large block of time is this timestamp here where it has 10:11, 29 p.m. Is this the only time that you see the suspect vehicle captured on this surveillance system?
Yes, it is.
All right, and if you continue the direction that this vehicle is driving, what intersection do you end up at?
This is Delphinium headed out of the subdivision for the travel of this vehicle, the next intersection. Are there any side streets within it would be Bells Ferry.
Okay, very good. And here, were you able to see that V shape casted onto the pavement?
Yes, this would have been some of the I think I already testified this was some of the earliest video that I acquired after the 50-50 Verbena video. This was where I first noticed this headlight, what I'm referring to as a headlight signature, where the signature cast by the headlights of the vehicle appeared to be distinctive enough to identify one vehicle from another.
Looking now at 465G, is this an additional frame of that same camera angle?
It is.
Do you still see the headlight signature?
You do, here just in front.
And I need to relabel this because this is actually a second G, so I will relabel that and put that on the record once it's relabeled. But is this actually just a cropped version of 685G?
Yes, in fact, that would probably indicate this is the image that I utilized for presentation purposes in another item.
And then what's currently labeled, and again, I'll have to switch these by one letter, but 685H, is that the same Lanz vehicle?
It is the same vehicle, a little further down the road, looking at the back end of the vehicle.
Does that capture the tail light?
It does.
And finally, what's currently labeled as I. What are we looking at in this screenshot?
Vehicle has applied brakes, indicating, and this shows that the vehicle did have a third tail light, position of the third tail light, which in some cases can be different.
And zooming in there, does that further depict the third additional tail light with the brakes applied?
It does.
And is that part of why when you had photographs taken of Mr. Lanz's vehicle, you had the brakes applied?
It is, for the fact of anything that might be unique or different in the known images from the images captured in the video, the homeowner's video.
Okay, very good. Now, again, prior to testifying, well, going back to the presentation that you created, in order to further look at these headlight signatures, did you also take screenshots of other vehicles that passed by the 5064 Verbena Drive address?
I did, yes.
And prior to testifying, did you look at the folder that was labeled screenshots of other vehicles from surveillance video?
I did.
And were there 4 images contained within that folder?
I don't recall the number. But
okay, but did you look at all the
yes,
images? Okay, and are all those images screenshots you personally took?
Yes.
All right, at this time, state moves to tender states 486 into evidence.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 686. I apologize. Numbers are not great.
That's the 686. Right, 686 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I publish this?
Yes.
And those 4 images are labeled A, B, C, and D. So looking first at 686A, is this a different vehicle captured on 5064 Verbena?
Yes.
All right, does that have any sort of V-shaped headlight signature?
It does not.
Looking at state 686B, is this a different vehicle from Mr. Lanz's vehicle captured on 5064 Verbena?
It is.
Okay. Does this have a different headlight signature, meaning not the V-shaped headlight signature?
It does have a different signature than what I was looking for.
Whoops. Looking at 686C, how do we know this is not the Lanz vehicle?
We do not see the headlight signature.
And then finally, 686D, is this one of the SUVs we previously saw in states? $465D.
It is.
And did that have the headlight signature that you were looking for?
It did not.
All right, now going back, did you create a comparison between the known images of Mr. Lanz's vehicle and the screenshots of his vehicle captured on the various surveillance systems?
I did.
And what was the purpose of creating that comparison?
I prepared that for the investigators, the primary and secondary investigators of the case. Generally, there are times when some of my concepts and some of the things I think of to do for casework, maybe it's better that it's seen. My work is seen rather than try to explain it to them. And so there are times when I try to make it very clear.
For the visual learners.
For the visual learners.
All right, very good. I'm going to show you States 479. Do you recognize that 2-page document in States 479?
I did.
All right, and how is it that you recognize it?
It's a document that I produced as a PDF file for the investigators and for their case file.
Very good. State moves to tender States 479 in the evidence.
Any objection?
That's the second page too.
No objection, can I have either of those previous?
States 479 is admitted.
May I publish?
Yes.
So looking at this first page here, have we previously seen these 3 screenshots?
We have.
Okay. If you will walk through from left to right each of these screenshots and where it was taken from.
Certainly. From left to right, the left image is a known image made under search warrant at the Cobb County Police headquarters at the time, 140 North Mary Parkway, in a dark portion back in a area where there are buildings on either side. It creates a kind of a dark pocket to capture what I believe was the headlight signature that I could identify in surveillance video. The next image was the arrival of a vehicle with, I believe, a matching headlight signature at on November 17th, 2021, approximately 21:20 hours. And this is captured, the middle image is captured from the 5064 Verbena Drive residential surveillance system. The final third image is from later on November the 17th, 2021 at 10:11 or 22:11 and 29 seconds from the residence at 581 Delphinium Boulevard.
And so looking at page 2 of States 479 here, what is it that you were able to determine in comparing these 3 screenshots?
A matching headlight signature for each of the residential videos that were acquired from the scene, and the known image, matching the known image made under search warrant by the Cobb County Police with the vehicle in custody, the known vehicle of the Lanz vehicle. And then thereby showing that access into the area, or ingress into the area toward the crime scene and egress from the crime scene post-incident, and thereby narrowing a time frame for this incident.
So going back to States 465 now, I want to play States Exhibit E again. Now, in addition to observing the headlight signature that you just walked us through, what else was of interest to you once the camera view switched to 50/50 Verbena? Do you want me to ask another question?
I'm going to need you to repeat the question because somehow I got lost.
That's okay. On this clip here, so we're going to start on E. The first camera from 5064 Verbena, do you see the headlight signature?
Yes.
Okay. Once the camera, that you've combined, once it switches to the 5050 Verbena Drive address, do you see that headlight signature?
I apologize, I did not follow that. You do not.
Okay.
And that was one of the purposes of producing that clip, that work product.
Now, do you see any other lighting that was significant to you once you're at the 5050 Verbena Drive camera?
Well, it's difficult to say, but they're in sequence, those vehicles traveling down the roadway. There appears at one part of the before the first SUV that would have been following the Lanz vehicle comes down the road, there appears to be light that goes off into the shrubbery. Behind and to the north side of the target property, which was the Lanz residence.
If the vehicle, the Lanz's vehicle that we see driving down Verbena at the earlier part of the street, what side of the road do you then see some of the reflective light?
On the right-hand side of the road.
And is that the same side of the road where the Lanz's residence is?
Yes.
Okay. Is it possible that you may have that same sort of reflective lighting if someone were to be pulling into the Lanz's driveway?
I believe it would be, yes.
Now, is the Lanz's driveway captured at all on the 50/50 Verbena camera?
It is not.
All right, so we will now replay State's Exhibit 465E.
You said 455?
460. I'm going to pause it here with the timestamp at the bottom of the screen being 21:20 and 49 seconds. We are now at the 50/50 Verbena Drive camera location. If you will stand up, and when you see a little bit of that reflective lighting, indicate that for the recording. And I know it's hard with lighting here. We'll go ahead and resume.
Just there. You can see back in this area, so several frames before that. When you, yeah, so there it is occurring.
Oh, whoops, I think I pressed play again. Hold on, let me go back. All right.
The tiny spot of
So
glare
we're
on the
going to
screen.
resume it at 21:20 and 51 seconds from 50/50 Verbena.
Just there.
And the timestamp there is 21:20 54 seconds.
It is.
Do you continue to see that at 21:20 and 55 seconds?
You do.
Does that continue up until 21:20 and 57 seconds?
Not quite.
Okay, just shy of that.
Yeah, well, actually, now you're seeing a similar pattern, but we've reached a point, and having noted in the earlier video with the 3 vehicles passing, in this same clip that we were just watching, the 3 vehicles were passing 5064 Verbena. The front vehicle is, I believe, the Lanz vehicle. The second 2 vehicles are SUVs. The first vehicle behind the Lanz vehicle is approximately 8 to 10 seconds traveling behind. And so when this clip starts, the first part of the clip is actually still occurring when this clip starts. So what I'm trying to indicate is that the vehicle's progression, as 8 seconds later from the time we see those lights, approximately, we should see an SUV passing by, if in fact, potentially the Lanz vehicle turned in or pulled off at the driveway of 600 Delphine.
Again, we'll continue on from that point and play the remainder.
Fun fact, that pointer stick he's using is actually the antenna off a 1970s Radio Shack handheld CB. If you know, you know. Heartbreaker 19. It's a telescoping antenna. When we go to a break, I'm going to recap what happened with Brian Walsh this morning and the change of plea on 2 of the charges, 2 of the counts against him. He's still going to trial for murder. That's still proceeding as scheduled. But this was a little bit of a surprise, and I'll cover that in a little more detail. But I'm sure they're listening to both at the same time here.
All right, I now want to look at state 465G. All right, the timestamp, at least for the very beginning here, what is the timestamp where this video clip starts? So this is 465G.
21:30 and 1 second.
And we're going to jump ahead a little bit to about 21, 31, and 30 seconds. But what is it that you were capturing or focusing on during this clip?
I believe this is a clip that when I first noticed movement, and I believe a person traveling into onto the property, the Hicks property.
And do you see any sort of lights or reflections that were important to you later on when we get to some other video clips?
Do I see them now?
No, not now.
I apologize.
That's okay. Do you see some changes in lighting coming from the Hicks' residence during this clip?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and play it. We will end up circling back once we get to later video footage. I'm going to, for clip G, we are going to skip to 21, 31, and 29 seconds. And if you will,
Amos, thank you very much.
Indicate to the court when you see some of the activity on the screen that was significant to you.
Alicia Horvath, thank you very much for your support. 8 months. Amos, it says 12 on here, but we know it's longer than that. Thank you.
I'm going to stop it at 21, 31, and 36 seconds. All right, what is it that changed on this screen?
Well, the backyard. There's lighting that has come on in the backyard.
And we've had images as well as some testimony about floodlights at the censored floodlights at the Hicks' residence. Is that what's being illuminated here in 21, 31, and 36 seconds?
I certainly believe it is, yes.
Now, do you see any associated movement in the same area?
Yes.
If you will, as you see that movement, please indicate that for the court as it's difficult to see.
Here in this area. In this area.
Stopping it at 21:32 and 9 seconds. Can you point out for the court what's noticed in this frame?
In this frame, this is later determined. I determined this to be a Nest camera that was probably utilized by the family simply for live viewing and was not recording at the time. However, I believe this is a signature of the infrared illuminator for that camera, for covering a porch area that's a side entrance off the garage to the residence.
And as we get kind of further into these clips, do you do a similar comparison looking at that infrared reader and later clips that we'll be viewing?
Yes, I do.
So we'll circle back to that in a little bit and continuing this video. And again, if you'll just point out any movement that you are able to see. Now here, I'm going to pause it at 21, 32, and 28 seconds. Do you see any additional lights come on?
Yes.
All right, and what light or what area of the Hicks residence do you see the additional light?
I believe that that is actually the front doorway, or front porch area, and lighting from that location.
Now, are you also aware of any censored floodlights in the front of the house?
I don't recall.
Certainly, did you see any movement come across the garage or anything like that?
I did not. I was aware in reviewing the video that these seem to have been triggered at times by maybe vehicles or activity out on the roadway or what would be the front yard of that residence. So I suspected they were censored. Yes.
Okay. But nonetheless, did you see any movement go in front of the garages towards the front door?
No, I do not. These are the garage doors, and I did not depict any movement across there during this time frame.
For these particular lights that you see illuminated, is it possible to either be motion censored from something on, what is this, do you recall the street name there? Madonna maybe, or?
Yeah, I don't, the pronunciation, I'd have to I'm not visualizing it to pronounce it, but yeah, I knew it started with an M.
I'm passing you states 475.
Yes. Menarda,
okay.
Menarda Way, yes.
So could that have been some sort of activity on Menarda Way that triggered the lights?
It could have been.
Okay, likewise, could it have been actually someone inside the Hicks residence turning on their front porch lights?
It's entirely possible.
Was there anything based on the timing of these lights being illuminated in the front of the house that would have told you one way or the other if it's a human turning on like a light switch versus it being activated by sensors?
Not for me. Reviewing the video now.
We will continue on.
Here. So
And I'm pausing it at 21, 32, 45.
A prior question was at any point when I
Absolutely.
see movement for me to identify it or stop you. You actually begin to depict some movement back here, and this is actually a person coming out of the, if you'll think back to the daylight images, the shrubbery that was here on the Hicks property, basically coming around the shrubbery from the side of the house, and now entering onto the grass area between the landscape, shrubbery, and the road.
Okay, and then we'll continue on.
And then now onto the roadway and away from the residence. Because of what I mentioned earlier, this area here, which is, we're getting some ambient light. You can tell that there's ambient light from the room that's creating this reflection back into the camera lens. The recording is picking this up. And so
the camera's inside the window.
More and more difficult to depict that movement moving up and out of the area, or vice versa coming into the area.
And we'll continue on just for a few seconds here.
It's highly likely that had this camera been installed outside, it would have captured a very clear, crisp image, even in some of the darker areas, as these cameras are designed to do that. But instead, it's sort of focused on the screen.
What I could see is back to this area.
And so we've stopped it at 21:33 and 13 seconds. I do want to go back momentarily to 21, 31, and 34 seconds, this time using the zoom function. So we'll resume this video. Again,
probably the clearest image we can see.
Yes.
31.
See some motion through the bushes, through the trees.
When the movement occurs in the backyard, initially here, it's depicted. As this clip plays, we'll actually see some object passes between the source of light, the floodlights, close enough to create shadowing, briefly, very briefly, in this area and across the spectrum of this light. But at this point, there is someone in the backyard moving, and then they'll move closer to the light source, creating some shadowing, and then they will move out of the light source in this area and toward the side of the house, the garage side of the house where there's a porch or a doorway.
All right, so we'll continue on.
There, the shadowing had just occurred, moving closer to the light source, causing a shadow. And now moving towards the side of the home. The sensor for the backyard will kick off. The sensor for the side door infrared illuminator will kick on. Front lights have initiated, and now we begin to see some movement here on the shrub line, and now we'll see someone, a person, moving out toward, across the grass to the roadway and moving up from the home towards 600 Delphine.
Yeah.
We will now pause at the timestamp of the video shows to be 21, 32, and 58 seconds. Next, looking at states 460. Right?
Yeah, this is taking about an hour and 40. You want to give sector to everyone? Why don't we come back at 10:50?
Okay, thank you.
Stand in recess.
All right. While they go to recess, a lot of difficult video, as far as difficult, grainy video, but the investigation was able to put pieces together and tell a bigger story than each individual video collects. So I do like it, although it is a little bit difficult to walk through. Let me tell you what just happened in the Brian Walsh case. This morning, we were expecting that jury selection was supposed to begin. The lawyers show up to court, and Brian Walsh, with his attorneys, announced that they would actually like to enter a change of plea on count 2 and count 3 of the charges against him. Remember, count 1 is murder. Count 2 is, I'm not sure if it's the right word. I think count 2 is the disposal of a body, and count 2 is misleading police officers in investigation. Count 3 is disposal of a body. So the misleading and the disposal of a body are the two charges he wants to plead guilty on. The judge goes into a full colloquy with him, and just to make sure that he knows what he's talking about, that he's alert, that he's not on drugs, that he's been properly informed of his decision and the impact of that decision. Goes into his history as far as education, his schooling, the full work. She does the deep dive to make sure there's nothing that he can come back later and say, but I didn't know. She crosses all the T's, dots all the I's. In the process of those questions, she asks him about his family and children. One of the questions is, are you married? He says yes. Clearly, he is married, or he was. He was married to the victim in the murder case, which is starting, jury selection today. The state objected on that grounds, saying the way our law works, if your wife is dead, the marriage is over, right? That's the whole till death do us part kicking in. And so they had a big sidebar, and they consulted with each other, and the judge says, so let me ask you again, are you married? And the lawyer sort of stood up and said, for purposes of this plea, we acknowledge that under the law, the marriage is no longer in existence. So he is basically pleading guilty to disposing of her body and misleading a police investigation, but not pleading guilty to murder, which would have to come before disposing of the body. The way the charges work, if the investigation of the disposal of the body is not a capital offense, then it's a 10-year sentence for that. If it is a capital offense, which I think it is, being murder, it could be 20 years as a maximum sentence. The deceiving the police officers or leading them astray in their investigation intentionally, that carries a maximum 3-year sentence. So he could be sentenced to 23 years if they're consecutive. That's my understanding. Some people are saying 13, but I think it's 23 on those two cases. And because they are felony count 2 and felony count 3 for him, because he's already got the Andy Warhol thing that happened earlier, right, with the fake paintings, then we're in the habitual offender category, and he gets labeled as a habitual offender, which could have some implications going forward if he's convicted of number 4 as well. So a bit of a surprise. It is appeared to be a strategic move. Think back to when we watched that pro se guy in Judge Wolf's court, where he pled guilty to one of the charges, so he would only have one thing before the jury, and it's easier to win if you've got one charge against you than if you have a whole slate of charges. This takes a lot of the other stuff off the plate. I don't think it removes any of the evidence. Like, I don't think it ties the state's hands and said, oh, you can't tell us about the rug anymore because that was the disposing of the body part. I think it's all wrapped in the same investigation, so I don't think it'll help evidentiary-wise to limit what's used against him. But it is a strategic move and it was a surprise to defense that they weren't involved at all. This was new to them. So it's just strategy. It might also indicate that Brian Walsh and his team are reading the writing on the wall and saying, yeah, it doesn't look good right now, Brian. Just looking at the stack of evidence that we've reviewed, it doesn't look good for you. And this might be your best bet to basically wave the white flag on 23 years and hope you don't get the life without parole that might be attached to the capital. So there's a possibility on the evidence. I don't know all of it. But the stuff like the rug might be the only thing. The rug might be out because the only reason the picture comes in with her and the kids playing on the rug in the front room is because that rug was found, but they're trying to prove murder, and that rug was found with a bone fragment, which, you've got to, in a dumpster, you've got to be able to I think it still comes in. I think it still comes in, but we'll see. I know they're going to fight it. So very strategic move. The case still goes forward, does not change the dates at all. The sentencing will not happen right now. It'll happen at a later point. Obviously, the victims' families need to be informed and brought in and get to make their statements. The judge is waiting to hear from them before any statements are, before any sentence is passed. So that's where we are on that one. Let's see. I think that's it. The bone fragment isn't coming in now. I don't know. I mean, that would be great for him if he can keep that out. Will we cover the call part? We may be able to on lunch. It was short. It's about half an hour. Well, maybe about 45 minutes. There's a lot of repetitive stuff and procedural to get there, but we can probably do that after this break, or maybe during the lunch break. Who needs lunch, right? I'm on a diet anyway. Let's see. My name says there's no bone fragment in evidence and no fragment being determined as human on a knife. I thought there was something with the rug. Was it blood evidence? I thought it was bone fragment. Forgive me if I'm wrong. If I misspoke on that, I apologize. There's a lot of cases floating around in my head on this one. Yes, but he said he also got rid. So unless they say he did it on the rug, I don't know. It would have to be blood or something on it, right? He disposed of the body. He didn't know what other was, so he didn't kill her. Yeah, his admission was he admitted to either himself or with the assistance of others, or in the assistance of others, disposing or moving the body. So We're all going on a diet. Yeah, if I don't eat, nobody eats. That's how it is. I finished my my non-spicy maple bourbon pickles, just the spicy bourbon. Sorry, just the spicy maple pickles. Not nearly as good. I need the maple bourbon ones. Okay, so I might have completely made up the bone fragment. I do apologize on that one. I'm trying to put this together. A lot of the places where he dumped garbage in dumpsters went to an incinerator, and the evidence is gone. It literally was burned up. So if there was anything there, it's gone now. So, Mrs. Ari will never. She's making cookies, which is terrible for my diet because she always brings them in. She's like, "Hey, how's this one?" I'm like, "It's good. It's really good." I'm telling you. Hold please. Let's see if we can. See if we can go down here to court and see what audio is looking like here. I'm going to try to, I know we've got some pretty good audio. It takes a lot, and when we have a break and skip ahead, it causes problems, but we are caught up now. Yeah, taste this one. Thank you, Rock and Roll. Appreciate you encouraging me. Lucy Bowers, interesting day in this trial, the Matthew Lanz trial. We've got an officer on the stand who analyzes video evidence, and they've used the Axiom suite of Investigate tools for video evidence, which allows them to enhance and link things up timeline-wise and put them together, and they're doing that to show what little they can with the video, because most of it only captures a little bit of light, some movement, a couple of brief shadows, the outline of a person or the shape of a figure, but they're putting it together to tell the story of what they believe happened and when. And it's pretty good, but obviously it wouldn't stand alone, as this is going to convict him. Obviously, there's more evidence that will that'll be used for that. All right, Kathy, should you be consuming alcoholic pickles? They're not alcoholic. I tried. You can't even light them on fire. I opened the jar and tried to spark it. You can't even. There's no alcohol. I think they cook it off. It's just the flavor. Have you had Vlasic pickle corn? I've not. I've seen them. So many companies just try to just add dill to something and make it and think it's good. It takes if it's not a dill pickle, it takes just the right amount of dill, and most companies miss. I've tasted a lot of bad dill things. P. Cooper, not impressed by this seal. I think under better lighting it would look better, but it is rather simplistic. I think also possibly if the relief varied instead of being like a fixed height. It's either background or foreground on this one. I think it needs a little more variation, but I've not ever had a mustard pickle. Let's see. What's happening? Let me do a quick check on. I don't want to do that. I'm going to go this way. Hang on.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Court is in session.
This is not for us. This is the
Thank you. You all can be seated.
the Brian Walsh thing. Hang on, I can't get audio for it. Yeah. I'm hearing it in my ear. She's talking to the jurors. They're doing voir dire, so I'll turn that off.
We are back on the record. The state of Georgia versus Matthew Scott Lanz, 229000922. All parties are present. You may proceed. Agree.
Cindy, thank you very much. Appreciate the super chat. Red pen is amazing.
We're still on states 465, some of those video clips. We're going to speed along watching some of these, but just so that the court is clear, in observing movement, were you in any way trying to make an identification of who is seen on this video?
No, I did not and do not believe it's possible to make an identification.
nonetheless, when looking at it in totality, particularly with the vehicles, was it helpful in developing your timeline?
Yes, it was.
Right, very good. So we will continue on looking next at states 465H. And I will jump ahead to 21:37 and 28 seconds. We'll just play a few seconds here. Pausing now at 21:37 and 31 seconds. Did the front lights go out at that point?
Yes, they did.
And again, is there any way to know whether that was initiated by a human versus light sensors?
No.
Right, very good. Moving on to states 465I.
I can get rid of the sound, but we're going to have to pause for a little while. You want to wait for about a minute or so?
We'll start it as 21, 43, and 49 seconds.
Your choice. You want the kettle on all day, or do you want to wait for a minute or two? Okay. I think you guys don't want the kettle on. We had that yesterday. Okay, so let's. I've got to wait for the right moment because we've got to be able to sync some things up.
Can you see some movement on the straight?
Yes.
Okay, and can you back it up just a few seconds there?
All right, so hold, please. We're waiting for a specific moment to occur.
And the timestamp we'll start it as 21:43.
Play when she says
49 seconds.
We'll pause there and back it up.
While it's difficult to see, can you see some movement on the straight?
Yes.
Okay, and can you back it up just a few seconds there to 21:44 and 01. If you'll point out the duration in which you see someone walking on the street being Verbena.
This is close. I'll have to do some finer adjustments when we've got some more movement.
It's here in this area, and it's a person that travels down the most extent of that travel is just about here, and then reverses course. Now seen moving back up the roadway in the northern, basically a northern direction.
Right,
and here's the extent of the movement pretty much out here.
Whoops. We'll stop that video at 21:44 and 38 seconds. I'm sorry, 38 seconds. All right, next we will look at states 465.
Oh, we're way off.
I'm sorry, L.
We're way off.
We're going to start that at 21:52 and 0 seconds. And if you will point out when you start to see some of that movement on the screen.
There. I apologize, but I need to be able to see this screen.
That's okay.
In order to depict what I'm seeing, because on this screen it's even more difficult.
Okay.
So the smaller the image, and the ability to overcome the challenges with the setup of this camera are difficult. The movement is here, and it will continue around this corner, and it is the most difficult of all these images to see movement. But it is a person moving around this corner of the shrubbery, but because it is my belief they are so close to the shrubbery that the camera is having difficulty determining between what is movement and what is just the shrubbery. Because in a nighttime, if this were daylight, we would see it easily. But with these low light conditions and the distance, it's basically just like ghosting. But you will see movement that comes around this corner very tight on the shrubbery.
There you go. We'll continue on. Now at the bottom of the screen here, we start seeing a person that's more visible. Where is that person coming from?
So that is the homeowner for 50/50 Verbi. And he is has exited his residence to walk his dog. He'll be briefly in this area. He'll pass his wife, who comes out with a second dog.
Okay.
For the same purpose.
Okay,
and then they enter their home.
Very good, thank you.
They're tag teaming the dog walking responsibilities.
As this is continuing to play, will we ever see any lighting coming from the Hicks's residence on this clip?
Do not recall if this clip goes far enough into 2155 for the back lights, but it is around that time that back lights are illuminated. I just don't recall if it's on this clip or not.
I know we've gone a few seconds kind of past it at this point, but what is the hour and minute that we now see the backyard floodlights illuminated?
21:55 and 43 seconds is where we're stopped. Just a couple of seconds prior to that is when the backyard light's illuminated.
All right, and we'll play this till the end. And then, what is the timestamp in which those backyard floodlights turn on?
21:55 and 52 or 3 seconds.
And then we'll just go ahead and play out the rest of the video. All right, next, looking at 465N, slightly out of order, but in chronological order. So we'll play 465N. What is the timestamp at the start of this video clip from 50/50 Bermuda?
22:10 and 1 second.
Okay. And do you see any lighting in this video?
We do currently, and we will. The floodlight for the driveway and the walkway to the front door area is illuminated. And we will see the backyard floodlights come on again and see movement back there.
Okay. We'll go ahead and play the entire clip.
I just had a spicy prank call.
Did you, again, I didn't know if from earlier you had wanted me to.
Yes, so we'll go back just a few seconds here at 22:10 and 07 seconds.
Okay.
So what is the timestamp when they first turn on?
22:10:08.
Okay, and then if you will, use the pointer to show the movement that is seen, the movement and shadows that can be depicted from this area.
So in this area, we see movement away from the residence, and I believe it depicts a person moving away from the residence at this point, 22:10 and 18 seconds.
This is like the worst possible video to try to sync
That
things
is
up
the
to.
entirety of the clip. Now, detective, between 21:55 hours and 22:10 hours, when we see those black back floodlights turned on, is there any other point in time within that 15 minutes that they come on?
The back floodlights do not.
Okay. So just because we skipped that chunk of time, was there anything significant in terms of backyard activity between 21:55 and 22:10?
Not in my review.
All right, next we will play 465M. And just to remind the court, this clip labeled M, what residence are we looking at?
This is 581 Delphinium Boulevard.
All right.
This is the driveway to the residence, which is actually their address, their physical home address is Delphinium, but their Dahlia Way is where their driveway.
Okay. And on the very upper left quadrant, what is the major roadway? Not major, but the other roadway that's depicted in addition to
This
Dahlia.
is Delphinium
Okay, very good.
Boulevard, and this is Dahlia Way.
Okay, very good. So we'll play the entirety of clip M.
This one has audio.
during those two different angles from the 581 Delphinium, are you able to see Lanz's vehicle?
Yes.
Okay, and are you able to see the headlight stamp, certainly from the view looking straight onto Delphinium?
The headlight signature is visible, and that's why I believe it is a Lanz vehicle.
And just to start the clip again briefly, what is the hour and minute? We don't need the seconds, but at least the hour and minute that we see the Mr. Lanz's vehicle passing on Delphinium?
2211.
Okay, which is 10:11 p.m.
It is 10:11 on this system, yes. PM.
Now I want to go to States 565. Oh. What are we about to watch in States 565-0?
Interestingly, just a short time after we had seen the movement in the backyard of this residence, there's a vehicle that arrives on the street. This is that SUV arriving, and we later were able to determine that this was a package delivery. The delivery driver exits the driver's side, goes around the passenger side, and makes a delivery to the porch area, where we see the illumination of the infrared illuminator for the Nest lighting, which gave me the reference for a known occurrence of a delivery. And that was where that package was left, so we know that that would trigger that infrared illuminator.
That's a late delivery.
If you will, please, as we see this delivery person exit the vehicle and walk around to the side porch area as you've described, if you can assist by using your pointer.
Certainly. Pointers likely not even needed because the driver, you'll see, is illuminating at their feet with their flashlight, or probably on their phone, walking around past the garage doors up to a walkway leading to a porch area where there is a dual entrance or side entrance to the home.
Okay, and I'm going to pause it at 22:17:16. What else do you see in this clip here?
We get an indication here of a known triggering of the infrared lighting. The Nest camera that was not live, was not recording, but was in fact live.
And we will look at some screenshots of this in a moment, but let's play this through till the end.
Looks like this would be like an Amazon Flex or something like that. Sorry, Red, gotcha.
All right, now, prior to taking the stand, did you also look at a folder labeled Nest IR with a state's exhibit number of 481?
Yes, I did.
All right, and does that contain 3 separate images that you created based off this surveillance footage at 50/50 Delphinium, or I'm sorry, 50/50 Verbena?
Yes, it does.
Okay, and are those fair and accurate screenshots, 2 screenshots as well as an overlay of those 2 images for purposes of looking at the infrared camera?
Yes.
State moves to tender state's exhibit 481 in evidence.
Any objection? States 481 is admitted.
So I first want to start with may I publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. 481C, since we just looked at that here, is this a screenshot from the video we just watched, which was States 465?
Do you have any watchers?
And is the infrared camera illuminated?
Well, the illuminator, the infrared illuminator has been triggered. At this point, you can actually see the position of the driver, the delivery person, by the use of their flashlight or their phone screen.
Okay, so if you can, just so that it's clear, can you show which one the infrared illuminator is compared to the cell phone?
The infrared illuminator is here, the higher positioned light source.
All right, and then the lower one here where my mouse is that the cell phone?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now looking at States 481A, what is the timestamp of this screenshot?
21:32 and 24 seconds, or 9:32:24 p.m.
Is this a screenshot from one of the clips we previously watched in States 465?
It is from November 17th, 2021.
And if you can point out that infrared indicator.
Certainly. This is an indication that the Nest camera's infrared illuminator has been triggered at this point.
So now looking at States 481B, what have you done with this image to further show visually what you determined?
So this is just to
I thought this was a good idea.
A base image, which is the still from earlier, 21:32, I believe it was in 24 seconds, is the base image here, and then overlaying over that image digitally, such that we can then see the known image of the delivery person making the delivery, and see that the infrared illuminator is in the exact same position. There's no issue, but you can tell that the delivery vehicle is actually kind of almost ghosted into the image because they are overlaying, showing two different moments in time, but that the illuminator is in fact operating both times, and we know where that delivery person dropped the package, so we know that's what triggers. That's how close you need to be to trigger that infrared illuminator.
And so based on that, were you able to determine whether a person was in the area of that Nest camera that's on the side porch door at 21:32 hours?
I believe that this image and the overlay does accomplish that by showing that in fact it was someone in that area, even though it's very difficult to see in the images that we saw, or the video that we watched. It's difficult to see someone rounding the corner, but when we see that illuminator, we know in fact someone was there.
So Detective, based on all of this and all of these videos combined in your analysis, what is your best estimate as to when these murders occurred?
I would say they occurred between the hour of the time of 21 and 55 minutes, 9:55 p.m. to the point at which we see someone moving away from the residence. And the flat back floodlights are illuminated at 10:10 and some seconds.
Between 9:55 and 10:10
So a
p.m.
15-minute window.
And when was it that you first saw the Lanz's vehicle on Verbena Drive?
At 21:20 hours.
Is that 9:20 p.m.?
It is 9:20 p.m.
And then when is it best you can tell from this footage and some of that overlay that you see a human on the Hicks's property?
When I first see that?
Yes.
At 21:31 or 9:31 during that minute time span.
And so
So he was outside the house
from
for
9:31 p.m. when you first see a human on the
25
Hicks's
minutes.
property, how many minutes is it until that 9:55 time frame or marker?
24 minutes or so.
And then what is the time difference between when you see the floodlights triggered between 9:55 p.m. and then when you see them triggered for the last time at 10:10 p.m.?
I think if you look at the seconds, it's a little less than 15 minutes.
And just so the court is clear here, after that 10:10 p.m. time, did you ever see those rear floodlights triggered before sunlight?
No.
Just a moment here. So that final time that you ever saw the rear floodlights triggered at 10:10 p.m., what time did you then see the Lanz's vehicle fleeing or leaving the area?
That vehicle was captured on that video, 581 Delphinium Boulevard at 10:11 and some seconds.
Is it possible to get from the Hicks's and Lanz's residence by vehicle from 10:10 p.m. to 10:11 p.m.?
Absolutely.
I think that's all that I have. Thank you.
Let's see what the fence does here.
Good morning, Detective Smith.
Good morning.
Did you have an occasion to go to the crime scene on the 18th? Call
to the residence?
To the residence, right.
I don't believe I physically went on the property on the 18th. I don't recall.
When was the first time that you did go to the residence?
Unfortunately, I don't recall.
Okay. Would it have been in 2021, or would it have been later?
If in fact I did to the actual same residence.
Yeah.
Just to
It
go
would have been the
back
18th or the 19th.
Okay.
Thank you very much. OG, 24
The
months.
photographs that we were looking at, particularly, I'll just show you, this is for Station Exhibit 480. And sure that I think. State's Exhibit 480. This is the screenshot that you did from across the street, showing that there's a screen on the window that you're explaining to us.
Yes.
There was an issue there with being able to see as well because of the screen.
Certainly complicated the view, yes.
Did you ever go to the crime scene and look at exactly where these lights were associated with where we see on the video?
Yes, on the exterior to some degree. I wasn't even made aware of the case until the 18th. And it would have been either the 18th or 19th.
Okay. And the lights that we see come on in the back, are they associated with where the package was that you saw, or were they in a different place?
They were in a different place.
Okay, even though we saw those same lights come on when the package was delivered. Right.
The back the back floodlights.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, what area do those back floodlights cover? Do you know when they would come on? How close would you have to be to those floodlights for them to come on?
I did not trigger them during hours of darkness, but they were in a patio area, and there was a wall to the. If you're facing that patio area where these lights were positioned, there was as I recall, a patio area with a part of a wall to the residents here, and part of a wall to the right.
Okay. And do you know how long those lights would stay on once they're triggered?
I had counted various cycles of that, and it seemed to be really brief in some instances, as little as 10 seconds.
Okay. And I know sometimes in floodlights that I have, sometimes a dog will trigger them. Anything that might come in their path that there's movement. Is it fair to say?
There's potential, yes, for that.
So let's talk a little bit about the vehicle. I know that that you've got new equipment that you've gotten fairly recently to do these testing. Did you do the testing with this new equipment or with the old equipment that you purchased when you came back?
I'm not sure what you're referring to, because you kind of mentioned the vehicle and now you're referring to new equipment.
Well, we're testing the headlights. You want to see the V in the headlights.
Yeah.
You indicated that you had equipment that you purchased when you came back from being retired in Talbot County and purchasing that surveillance equipment.
No.
Is that something different?
You have. There's no new equipment for that purpose, and the equipment that I referred to was actually in 2002. 2001, they accepted a proposal. 2002, they bought it. It was long before I went to the technology-based crime unit.
Okay, so the Axon that you were talking about, that's not new equipment then?
It is the new company that purchased the smaller company, Input Ace.
Okay. So you didn't use this newer equipment. You used the equipment back in
well, none of this is equipment. I mean, software. It's software.
Okay.
But this is something that I would say we can see with the naked eye.
Okay.
There's nothing that's doing anything to enhance that image. I picked up on what I believed was a signature visually, simply watching the video play from both Verbena Drive and Delphinium Boulevard, those two residential surveillance systems. I believe I was seeing a headlight signature, and my interest was to, once we had the known vehicle of a person of interest to the case in our custody, I wanted those known images of what the headlights were casting. There's no equipment other than cameras and ladders involved in that, and the surveillance systems that recorded it.
Well, that's pretty much just visual. You don't use any particular surveillance equipment or anything to enhance what you may see with the naked eye.
I do not recall, other than cropping the images for the PDF that I produced, other than cropping them just so visually they'd be about the same size in each example. No, I don't believe I did any enhancement. I prefer to call it clarification processes of adjusting brightness or contrast or luminance values.
When you are looking at a headlight signature, we'll just say a 2018 Toyota. Does each 2018 Toyota have the same signature headlight?
I would say there's a potential for each one to have slightly different headlight signatures. And then all the different variables that come into play. Did a headlight burn out? Was it replaced with a lesser lumens output bulb? Was it replaced with a non-manufacturer produced bulb? Was there a front-end collision that may have changed the aim of a headlight? All those, and there are, as you and I can both imagine, millions of possibilities of what changes. Because it's not like it used to be when you and I would take a screwdriver and make an adjustment to our headlights by literally running the screw in and out that would change the pin. These are basically fixed, and what changes them are the bulbs, the lamps used, and any damage or other factors that will change the directionality and the output of a headlamp.
And the only way that you would really know that would be to look at the bulb to see whether it may be the same bulb that was in the vehicle originally. If it was, then most of them would be the same V shape, wouldn't it?
I could care less about what bulb it is in there. I could care less about the lens. It's about the signature. It's about the signature cast upon the ground, on a roadway, on asphalt, either as the vehicle's traveling, as it's parked, and then recreating to the best of your ability the angles to capture a similar scene and see visually, does it compare? Is it comparable? And in this case, it was.
Yeah, I misunderstood. I thought you said it sometimes depended on the type of bulb that you had, whether you had a front end collision, and all of these things kind of would go in being able to determine whether that V was the same, that may be the same signature on all 2018 Toyotas, correct?
In this case, I'm not concerned about all 2018 Toyotas. I'm literally concerned with one vehicle. And does that signature of that, no matter whose headlamps are in it, no matter what lens is on it, I'm not even concerned, did it ever get in a front-end collision? Was there ever damage to it? I just know several nights earlier, it was casting a particular signature upon the ground. Is it still casting? Is that vehicle, a known vehicle, casting that signature such that I can then confidently say that it was the vehicle that traveled through that area at a time significant to the investigation?
I see holes in this.
So it wouldn't make any difference to you how many 2018 Toyotas there would be that had the V signature. You're just looking at that particular vehicle.
I'm literally looking at that particular vehicle in this kind of scenario when we have a known entity, a known vehicle to compare to.
If all the other models and year, matching model and year cast the same shadow, you can't say it's the same vehicle. I think in this case it was, but this is worse in my opinion than firearm tool marks.
I've tried to write down all of these time frames from the stamp. It appears as though that there are lights coming on the front porch at some point. I think at 2131, you see a light on the back of the Hicks home. You recall?
Yes.
And then at 2132, the light goes out. Correct.
I believe that would be generally accurate, yes.
And then at 2132, the lights on the front porch come on. Correct.
If recollection serves, yes.
And you indicated that you can see movement during that time period. I think we saw some sort of person moving across the screen there from maybe the back area towards the front, past the truck.
Past the infrared, the Nest camera, and then eventually down the driveway toward the roadway.
And then at 2137, you got lights on the front porch again, all right? Somewhere in that.
Yeah, I mean, I believe you may be referring to the similar time frame, a continuation of that time frame.
Well, the lights on the front porch aren't going to stay on other than a few seconds, according to what you said.
On the front porch?
Mm-hmm. Or do you know?
That's the back porch. The front porch, they stay on much longer, from what I reviewed.
How long do they stay on the front porch?
I didn't do a calculation per se. Not like I did for the back, because the back seemed to be triggered and go out pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. So I did not do the same for the front, and there was no point of entry into the home that we were aware of related to this case on the front. Okay. So I did not do a calculation for the back. I'm sorry, for the front.
Okay, so you're saying that the lights were on from 2132 to 2137?
No, I'm not saying that necessarily. I don't recall, and it wasn't the focus of my interest.
And at 214401, you see somebody walking up the street. Is that up the sidewalk in front of the bushes there?
I believe so. I'm unaware of the sidewalk, but there's shrubbery. The driveway meets the roadway. There's a short or narrow, I guess narrow is a better term, strip of grass that one crosses to pass onto the roadway.
Okay. It appears as though, from what I could tell, that person was walking away from the home, the next home. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. And then at 2155, you got the floodlights that go on in the backyard again.
Yes.
And at 2210, you've got the floodlights at the front door, front porch.
I don't recall. I do know the back are illuminated at 2210.
Okay, so you don't remember whether the floodlights were on at 2210?
In the back, they absolutely were. They pop on, and a person is seen moving from the residence toward the roadway.
Well, at 221008, you got the back floodlights come on, but you don't recall the front coming on before?
I don't recall that, whether they did or not. My interest was in the back of the home.
Your knowledge, do you know who interviewed the driver for the package delivery?
I do not.
Do you know what the
your
package was?
Estimate then of the time of the murders was somewhere between 9:55 and 10:10. Is that right?
Yes.
I think that you indicated that you were able to see a person, but you were not able to determine what that person might be wearing or what they look like.
Yeah, that's correct. No identifiable, other than what appeared to be a human figure moving. Nothing identifiable.
And you indicated at one point that there had been some light that you saw was a reflection that may have been up towards the Lanz home. Could that be anything? Could it be back porch light or anything that came on?
I believe what and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe what you're referring to is early in my testimony, I was talking about the Lanz vehicle arriving during the 21:20 hour frame. traveling past 5064 Verbena Drive and then followed by 2 SUVs. And then the continuation, the compilation where the video then picks up from 5050 Verbena. And I indicated that you see light cast into a deeper area, right? And then about 8 seconds later, you begin to see the lighting for the vehicle, the first SUV that would have been behind the Lanz vehicle. And could that have been the Lanz vehicle pulling into 600 Delphinium Boulevard? Yes. Could it have been someone at the intersection that turned and did a U-turn in the 4-way stop because they sit right on the corner? Yes. I'm not excluding all other possibilities.
Right. So you're not saying, you don't know whether the Lanz vehicle or what you believe to be the Lanz vehicle pulled into their drive?
I believe it to be the Lanz vehicle. I believe the timing is accurate for it to have been the Lanz vehicle's lights shining into the trees and landscape prior to that first SUV that would have been behind the Lanz vehicle only seconds earlier, captured on the earlier camera footage. So I believe it to be the Lanz vehicle.
This isn't the strongest of witnesses.
Thank you.
I think his testimony will stand for what it's worth.
Thank you,
He's wearing
Ayden.
his glasses just like the bailiff on the other side of the
Nothing
office.
further. Thank you.
All right. May this witness be excused?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. The attorney's approach for me.
Looks like the judge is looking at the lunch schedule. Let's see what's coming up here. A much smaller representation in court today. Probably because the number of people who were there supporting family members who were testifying. There was a lot of time spent on that one, Bobby, for sure. I realize how important it is to nail the timeline down to put him at the scene. But I didn't like how confidently the witness spoke about how he can identify a car by their fingerprint or their headlight print. Especially if you've got a stock vehicle with a stock bulb.
All right, State, you may call your next witness.
This kind of state called Detective Ben Jackson.
Would you like to stay in this morning? You will raise your right hand, please.
You do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give the court on the issue now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Thank you. Please have a seat, and once seated, if you please state and spell your true and correct legal name for the record.
Sergeant Ben Jackson, BenJackson.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Look at that
Good morning.
burgundy suit.
If you'll please tell the court how you're employed.
I am currently assigned to Crimes Against Persons Unit as the sergeant for the unit.
And how long have you been with the Crimes Against Persons Unit?
I was a detective in the Crimes Against Persons Unit for approximately 2 years before being promoted to sergeant, and I've been reassigned to that unit as a sergeant since January of 2022.
And just a clarification, which law enforcement agency?
Cobb County Police Department.
And prior to Crimes Against Persons, did you have previous law enforcement experience?
Yes, I was originally post-certified in 2006. I worked for the Georgia Tech Police Department for 1 year, then left law enforcement, was in full-time ministry for about 5.5 years before coming to the Cobb County Police Department in December of 2012.
So since 2012, you've been post-certified?
Yes.
All right.
You said it was in
now,
ministry
were
for a
you
while?
employed by the Cobb County Police Department in November of 2021?
Yes, sir. At that time, I was a detective in the Crimes Against Persons Unit.
So I want to jump to November 18th, 2021. In what capacity did you work this case?
I was assigned as the second to assist Detective Standard in the homicide investigation.
Now, jumping in, at some point, did you interview Teresa and Scott Lanz?
Yes, sir. We interviewed them at the office on, I believe it was November the 19th.
Now, who is Teresa and Scott Lanz?
They're the father and mother of the suspect, Matthew Lanz.
Now, in the sequence of events, when did you interview them?
It was later in the evening on the 19th, so it was after we identified him as the suspect, before we executed the search warrant in Athens, Georgia.
Now, how did the Lanz, Teresa and Scott Lanz, get to the headquarters? If you remember.
I don't recall.
But at some point they were at headquarters?
Yes, sir.
All right. And who interviewed them?
Detective Sanders and I interviewed them at the office.
Now, at this time, the state's going to move to enforce Mark State's Exhibit 466 as it's a part of stipulation number 8, and I can read that into the record.
Yes, please.
In full, stipulation number 8, statements of Scott and Teresa Lanz captured on Officer R. Jones' body camera contained in State's Exhibit 460, and from their formal interview with Detectives Zachary Stanner and Ben Jackson contained in State's Exhibit 466 are admissible. Defendant Matthew Lanz is waiving his right to confrontation regarding the statements made by Scott and Teresa Lanz, his parents. So at this time, I think it's a good time to take break.
Okay, let me just get on the record. Attorney Barry, any objection?
No, Judge.
Okay. As stipulated in stipulation number 8, State's Exhibit 466 is admitted, and we will take our lunch break at this time. So everyone will be back at 1:30 p.m. Courtroom will be open about 1:15. Just want to remind everybody that chewing gum is prohibited in the courtroom as well. So just want to remind everybody there should be no chewing gum in the courtroom during the course of the proceedings.
And blowing bubbles is out of the question.
See you all back at 1:30.
No bubbles. Ron Burgundy wants his suit back. That's a nice suit. It's fit pretty good. Everyone spit out your gum in the trash before you come back. Yeah, it's got a little more relief than I thought. They zoomed in to show that now, but it still looks like it was made in like a 4th grade, science project. Not a fan. Not a fan. I know they've got a great logo. That just doesn't do it justice. Needs to be re-envisioned. All right, here's what we can do. Would you guys like to go back and hear the Brian Walsh? Well, we have lunch in the Lanz trial. Would you like to go back and hear the Brian Walsh plea? Let's turn that off. Go back here. Yes, let's see if we can bring that to you. Just 1 second. We're going to go into 7. Do we have audio? We do. Oh. 20 for source. 2 is going to 7. I'll be over here so you guys can see most of what's going on. So this happened this morning. Yeah, everyone's saying, wait, Brian Walsh plea, what? It's supposed to be jury selection, right? Brian Walsh walks into court with his lawyers, judge walks in, and everything went differently. There was a plea, not a complete plea. So just listen, listen closely because it's.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may. The trial's going forward.
Mr. Walsh, can you please stand?
But not as we anticipated.
Mr. Walsh, do you wish to offer a change of plea on docket number 2382CR91002, which charges you with intimidation of a witness, juror, police, or court official, and 003, disinterment of a body? Do you wish to offer a change of plea from not guilty to guilty?
I do.
Could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear to make true answers to such questions that should be put forth to you by the court, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Could you please take the witness stand?
Actually,
you
the
know what
judge
I'm
says,
gonna,
don't bring
this
him
is
near
an
me.
odd configuration. I don't want counsel standing. So I'm gonna let you stay right there, sir. You understand you're under oath?
I do.
All right. Why don't you be seated and you can have the benefit of your counsel at the ready right there.
Okay.
So he gets one on each side. So their lawyer goes around to be
Mr.
left-hand
Walsh,
counsel.
as you know, my name is Diane Frenier. I'm the judge that's presiding over this trial, and I'm an associate justice of the Superior Court in Massachusetts. I understand from your lawyers that you wish to change your plea to guilty to counts indictment 002 and in 003. And before I can accept that change of plea to guilty to those two indictments, I need to ask you some questions to make sure that your decision to plead guilty is made voluntarily and that you understand the consequences of pleading guilty to those two offenses. If at any time during the course of this colloquy you don't understand something that I am saying to you, just let me know by letting your attorneys know. Let them consult with you. And equally, if I don't understand something that you're saying to me, I'll ask for that further clarification. Do you understand, sir?
Do we understand
Yes,
each
Your
other?
Honor.
All right.
We do.
Can you please state your full name, sir?
Brian Walsh.
He's gonna.
Right.
I'm gonna mute
And,
some of this.
Mr.
We
Walsh,
don't
do you
need-
have any difficulty speaking or understanding English?
I do not, Your Honor.
How old are you, sir?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Sure, I'll try to get into this
I said,
microphone.
can you hear
How
me?
old are you?
50.
And what's your exact date of birth?
I'm not giving that. YouTube doesn't like that.
Where were you born, sir?
Boston.
Are you married?
Yes.
No.
Do you have any children?
Yes.
And
Ages.
what are their ages?
9, 6, and next month, Brian will be 5.
Young kids. Man.
How far did you go in school?
College, some college.
And that was like a year and a half or 2 years.
Oh, yes.
And where did you go to school?
Carnegie Mellon,
What did you study?
business and computer science.
As an adult, have you had full-time employment?
I've had my own businesses.
And in what kind of businesses?
Clean up.
Mostly consulting.
Cleaning business. Too soon.
I need to ask you some personal questions. I'm going to ask you those questions now. Have you ever in the past been treated for any mental illnesses or conditions?
Yes.
Tell me about them.
Depression.
And are you aware of whether anything else other than depression?
That was the main thing.
All right. And are you presently aware of whether you have any mental illnesses or conditions, to include depression?
No.
So he's good now.
Are you taking any medications?
No.
That's important.
In the last 24 hours, have you taken any drugs, legal or illegal?
No.
In the last 24 hours, have you consumed any alcohol or alcoholic beverages?
No.
Is your mind clear here today?
Yes.
Tell me in your own words, sir, why are you here?
I'm here to plead guilty.
Never
On
heard
those
the
two
colloquy
counts?
quite so
And you
detailed.
understand that your trial's starting today?
Yes.
On the first indictment?
That's the murder one.
All right. To defense counsel, have you had any difficulty communicating with your client?
No, Your Honor.
And do you believe that he has understood the advice that you've provided to him?
Yes, you do.
Same.
They both answer. That's interesting.
So at this time, I'm going to go over what's called the waiver of rights. And at the end of it, I'm going to give you the form back that I believe you signed earlier today. Do you understand, sir, that by pleading guilty, that you're giving up your right to have a public, fair, and impartial trial as to each of the two indictments to which you're now pleading guilty, with or without a jury, to determine your guilt or innocence?
I do, Your Honor.
And do you understand that if you went to trial you wouldn't have to prove anything. For example, you never have to take the stand to testify. You would never have to call any witnesses. No jury could ever hold it against you if you did not present any evidence at all. Instead, it is the Commonwealth that has the burden to prove you are guilty of each of the offenses and each element of those offenses beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
I understand, yes.
You have the right to be tried by a jury of 12 people selected from your community, and you would have the right to participate in jury selection. You could not be found guilty unless the Commonwealth convinces all 12 jurors that you are guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and they unanimously agree you are guilty. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
You also have the right to be tried by a judge instead of a jury. And again, the judge couldn't find you guilty unless the Commonwealth presented evidence sufficient to convince the judge beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty of the charge. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you went to trial, you would have the right to confront your accusers and any other witnesses that may testify against you by facing them and having your attorneys ask questions of them?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand that if you went to trial, you would have the right to call your own witnesses, present your own evidence, and if you wished, even testify on your own behalf? Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty here today, you're giving up your right to pursue any arguments or motions that your attorneys may have made or filed on your behalf in this case, and that may include motions to dismiss and motions to suppress, as well as your right to appeal any rulings or decisions that the court may have already made in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Brian's mom is here.
And are you willing to give up each of those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Pass that to the defendant.
So I think we're going to see she's in the same position she was in yesterday. She was the one that had to leave without the black bag, as the judge talked
Sir,
about.
Sir, had the court officer pass to you defendant's waiver of rights? Have you seen that form before?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you read that document or have someone read it to you?
Yes, Your Honor, I read it.
Have you reviewed it with your attorneys?
Who jumps? Who jumps?
Do you understand it? Do you understand what's contained on the waiver of rights form?
I do, Your Honor.
You understand that that form sets forth in writing what you and I have just been discussing a moment ago in terms of your willingness to waive your constitutional and statutory rights and plead guilty to the two indictments?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that your signature at the end of the document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you sign that voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor, I have signed it voluntarily.
By signing that form, you're confirming to me, sir, in writing that you are aware of the rights explained on the form, that you understand them, and that you voluntarily waive them. Is that correct?
Yes.
There she is.
Do you understand, sir, that you are pleading guilty to the following two indictments? Indictment 002, which charges willfully misleading a police investigation, a criminal investigation, in violation of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 268, Section 13B, and in Indictment 003, you are pleading guilty to, while not being lawfully authorized by proper authorities, willfully conveying away a human body or the remains thereof in violation of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 272, Section 71. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you talked to your attorneys about each of these two indictments?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has counsel explained the elements of each of those two indictments that the Commonwealth would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand each indictment?
I'm sorry, what did you?
Do you understand each indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
And to defense counsel, have you explained the elements of each of the two offenses to your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Listen for
And
the
I ask that
penalties.
the
Listen
assistant of
carefully.
the Commonwealth, whoever wishes to do it, would tell me what the maximum and minimum sentences are, and I don't believe there are any mandatory minimum sentences, but
I have
you
to
can tell
crank
me if
this
there
audio
are.
because he's quiet.
There are no mandatory minimum sentences, Your Honor.
The maximum sentence on count 2 is 10 years unless the investigation is into a capital offense, and then it is a 20-year sentencing enhancement, up to 20 years. On count 3, it is up to 3 years in state prison.
Okay. That sounds to me like it
Thank
was
you.
23
Mr. Walsh,
years,
did you
right?
hear the maximum possible sentences for the charges that the Commonwealth just recited?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand those maximum potential offense charges, sentences?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that I have the authority to impose consecutive sentences on indictments, meaning, for example, that the sentence on the second indictment would begin only after you completed your sentence on the first indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if I impose a period of probation, you will be subject to the terms and conditions imposed, including not committing any other crimes and reporting to your probation officer?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you should later be found in violation of any of the terms or conditions of your probation, a judge could sentence you up to the maximum penalty allowable by law for any of the charges on which you have been found in violation of probation, and would be required to sentence you to any mandatory minimum penalty required by the law.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand what I just explained?
Yes.
Pleading guilty has certain implications for you, and I'm going to go over those implications with you now. First is DNA testing. By pleading guilty to these 2 indictments, you will be required by law to submit a sample of your blood, hair, and/or saliva, and that sample will become part of the Massachusetts DNA database. You will be required to pay for the cost of collecting, preparing, and processing that sample unless you are determined to be indigent, and failure to comply with this law will subject you to separate criminal penalties. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you still willing to plead guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
I know earlier in the colloquy this morning you told me that you were born in Boston, and I have no reason to doubt that. But the law mandates that I give you warnings with regard to immigration consequences, and I'm going to give you those immigration consequences now. If you are not a citizen of the United States, you are hereby advised that my acceptance of your guilty plea may have the consequence of deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, and denial of your naturalization request.
This doesn't apply, but she has to read
the
it.
federal laws. Further, if the offense to which you are pleading guilty is under federal law, one that presumptively mandates removal from the United States, and federal officials seek your removal, it's practically inevitable that this conviction will result in deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, and/or denial of your naturalization request, again, under those federal laws. Do you understand what I just said?
Yes.
Has your attorney advised you of these consequences if you are not a citizen of the United States?
Yes, Your Honor.
And understanding that, do you still wish to plead guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because the sentence for count number 2 could be a state prison sentence of 3 or more years, I'm now going to give you what's called the habitual offender law warning, which I'm required to give you. Here it is. If at some time in the future you are convicted or plead guilty to a third or subsequent offense that is within the category of offenses covered by the statute, then 1, you may be imprisoned in state prison for the maximum term provided by law for such third or subsequent offense. 2, your sentence could not be reduced or suspended. And 3, you may be ineligible for probation, parole, work release, or furlough, or to receive any deduction in the sentence for good conduct. Do you understand what I just said?
Yes, Your Honor.
And understanding what I've advised you with regard to these sentencing consequences, are you still willing to plead guilty to the 2 charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so if he gets found guilty of murder, then it's habitual offender. I thought the felony forgery one with the Andy Warhols counted, but it's the class of crime. So this is his first 2 strikes.
All right. I'm now going to ask the Assistant District Attorney to summarize the evidence that would have been presented against you by the Commonwealth if you went to trial in this case. And I'm going to ask, sir, that you listen carefully because when the ADA is finished, I'm going to ask you some questions about the facts that the ADA has stated.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, regarding count 002, misleading police in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 268, Section 13B. On or about or in between January 1st to January 8th, 2023, Mr. Walsh did willfully mislead police officers with the intent to impede, obstruct, delay, prevent, and otherwise interfere with the criminal investigation into the disappearance and murder of Anna Walsh. The defendant first misled the Cohasset police in the morning of January 4th, 2023, when after he had reported his wife Anna Walsh missing, he stated to a Cohasset police officer that Anna Walsh had left the Walsh residence at 516 Chief Justice Cushing Highway in Cohasset on the morning of January 1st, 2023, by taking an Uber or Lyft to Logan Airport when returning to Washington, D.C. for a work emergency. The defendant then continued to mislead police officers when he made additional false statements about Anna Walsh being alive and voluntarily leaving the Walsh residence, as well as when he detailed his whereabouts on January 1st, 2023, the Cohasset police and Massachusetts State police officers. The defendant continued to make false statements when the police officers from these agencies met with him, including on the evening of January 4th, on January 5th, January 7th, and January 8th. In January of 2023, the Cohasset Police Department had approximately 20 full-time police officers, including 2 detectives. The Cohasset Police devoted all available resources in an attempt to find Anna Walsh. They requested assistance from other departments and agencies. And on January 6th, the chief of the Cohasset Police Department conducted a press conference seeking help in locating Anna Walsh. As a result of the defendant's false and misleading statements, law enforcement agencies and police officers took many actions which had a heavy financial and emotional cost. These included the Cohasset Fire Department searching a swimming pool at the Walsh residence, teams of police officers from multiple agencies and departments, including a K-9 teams participating in large-scale canvass of the area around the Walsh residence during inclement weather. D.C. Metro Police attempted to locate Anna Walsh in Washington, D.C., and Massachusetts police officers, including Cohasset Police, Massachusetts State Police detectives, and other units from the Massachusetts State Police traveled to Washington to search for Anna Walsh in a result of the defendant's false statements. The defendant's conduct was willful. His statements impeded, obstructed, delayed, and otherwise interfered with the criminal investigation, and the delays resulted in contents of dumpsters in which the defendant had disposed of Anna Walsh's remains being incinerated.
Why don't you pause there?
Pause.
We'll deal with count 1 and count 2, and then we'll go to count 3.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Walsh, did you hear what the Assistant District Attorney just said with regard to the statement of the offense conduct for indictment 002, misleading police?
Attorney's going to speak.
Your Honor, if I may, Mr. Walsh is prepared to admit to the recitation of facts with respect to the indictment that the government just read, insofar as it alleges he did impede and obstruct the criminal investigation into the disappearance of Anna Walsh. We obviously object, and he's not admitting to and murder. The second portion of the facts that the government just read that we would take issue with is the last sentence, and the delays resulted in the contents of the dumpsters into which the defendant had deposited Anna Walsh remains being incinerated. Insofar as the rest of the facts, he's prepared to admit.
All right. Mr. Walsh, you just heard what Attorney Porges said, sort of the insofar as. It's another way of saying it limited to this. And you heard what your counsel just said. Understanding those limitations as just articulated by your counsel, did you do or join others in doing those acts?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty that you're admitting to the facts described as revised by your counsel are true?
Yes.
Are they?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh, did you in fact willfully mislead various law enforcement to include members of the Cohasset Police Department and the Massachusetts State Police with the intent to impede or interfere with a criminal investigation of Anna Walsh's disappearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Moving to indictment number 3.
Here's the next one.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This is the bigger one.
A human body in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 272, Section 71. On or about and in between January 1st and January 8th, 2023, the defendant Brian Walsh willfully conveyed away the body of Anna Walsh, or the remains thereof, from the Walsh residence at 516 Chief Justice Cushing Highway in Cohasset by conveying and disposing of Anna Walsh's body without a license or lawful authority, or the remains thereof, into dumpsters and/or garbage receptacles in eastern Massachusetts. The defendant's actions were willful. Anna Walsh was not a stranger to the defendant. She was the defendant's wife and mother of his 3 young children. The defendant conducted internet searches into disposal of the body, researched locations of dumpsters, and then traveled to those locations. In disposing of the body of Anna Walsh, the defendant did not comply with the law.
Did you really think you'd get away with it? His address is literally named
Sir,
after
did you
a
hear
judge.
what the Commonwealth just alleged it would prove the case went to trial with regard to indictment number 3?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you do those things or join others in doing those acts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty to today, you are admitting the facts described just now by ADA Connor?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Walsh, did you in fact willfully remove or convey the body of Anna Walsh or her remains, not being lawfully authorized to do so?
Yes, Your Honor.
Boom. Now, how do you, as a juror can't know this, right? So now as we go forward, we have to make sure they don't know about what just happened this morning.
Do you now plead guilty to these indictments willingly and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has anyone threatened you or forced you in any way to plead guilty to these 2 indictments?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone promised you anything in return for your plea of guilty to these 2 indictments other than the terms of the plea agreement that we discussed? Excuse me, there's no plea agreement. That's what happens when you keep reading from the book, and you shouldn't.
Don't read.
Has anyone promised you anything in return for your plea of guilty to these 2 indictments?
No, Your Honor.
Have you had enough time to discuss your rights, your case, your defenses, and the possible consequences of your guilty plea with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you feel that Attorney Tipton and Attorney Porges have acted in your best interest, that he and she have fully, fairly, and adequately represented you in this case?
Yes.
Are you confused in any way by any of the questions I've asked you today?
No, Your Honor.
As I understand it then, sir, you're pleading guilty to these 2 indictments because you wish to plead guilty because you are guilty. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Counsel, do you know, defense counsel first, do you know of any reason why I should not accept your client's guilty plea?
You do not, Judge.
Same question to the Commonwealth.
Your Honor, I'll be brief, but we had spoke that this is a non-negotiated plea with the Commonwealth, and we had some objections to it. But my concern was where the defendant equivocates on the factual basis that the Commonwealth read in, that is one reason you should not take it. And the second is this count 3 revolves around the improper disposal of Ms. Walsh's remains. And the defendant, when asked his marriage status, said that he was married. And consequently, Your Honor, then that is not an accurate relaying of his current status to the court and could be invalidating the plea. So I believe he has to be asked that question again. And I believe that if he continues to say he's married, that he's negating facts of count 3.
All right, I'll give defense counsel an opportunity to speak with your client.
Your Honor, I apologize. I couldn't exactly hear what Mr. Connor's caveat was.
In response to one of the early questions I asked of the defendant, I asked him if he was married, and he said yes, he was. And the Commonwealth was raising the point that if that were true, that it might negate proof of the disinterment, which requires a human body or remains. Do you want to speak to your client about that?
You can't have both.
A moment, Your Honor.
You can't have she went home. She just left me. She's still alive, and I helped hide her remains. Both be true. They are mutually exclusive.
Your Honor, respectfully, I don't see this as a relevant or material issue. If the court wants clarification, I'm happy to approach sidebar.
Why don't we do that?
Okay. This is as far as we're going to go with this. They go to a long sidebar, and in doing that, they then reach the conclusion that yes, in fact, Brian Walsh, through his legal team, does admit that his current situation under the law and the state in which he resides is no longer viewed as married, technically. Although, you can argue that spiritual marriage may continue. The court doesn't care about that. So that's it. All right. We are going to we're going to go to lunch. I don't know how much time we have. Does anyone remember when the Lanz trial returns? It's on lunch break, right? 1:30 p.m. I think it's 1:30. So that's a long one. We get an hour and 15 minutes. Well, we get an hour. We'll be back in an hour. Is that right? It's only 12:12 right now. All right, sounds good. I can do that. We can take a long lunch. I get to go test cookies in the kitchen for a while. Those that need to shower, please do so. We've got a couple notes from a couple people. A couple you need to shower. We noticed. That's all right. It's all right. I'm glad you were here to take care of that in the return. We are going to make a portal to come back this afternoon. I think the testimony, believe it or not, I think we're going very fast in this case. I just don't know. The defense has not taken nearly the time I was expecting them to take. What might take? I think he's got to get up and take the stand. I don't think his lawyer can argue the tinfoil hat CIA FBI framed me argument in good faith. I don't think he can. And if the defendant wants that shared to the judge, the only way that comes up is if he takes the stand, and that could be just bizarre. Which unfortunately, it will. I think it will look like he's not competent, but he's already been ruled competent. That's why the delay took so long, is to get this, his mental evaluation done. So I don't know. It's gonna be wild on that one for sure. So. All right, we're going to be back this afternoon. We've got 1 hour for lunch, I think. If for some reason I heard differently, we'll start sooner. We'll be back at 1:15. We'll make a portal. We'll bring everyone over to it. So all you have to do is be subscribed, like the page, say nice things about other people on the page. No, that's not a requirement, but it helps. It helps. And we're going to be back this afternoon to continue this trial. I think the prosecution is doing a great job. Some of the testimony, especially with the witness that we had today with the video camera, was a little slow. I think it's going to be also a little bit slow for the firearms and tool marks testimony, which we're also going to get. I know those are both two pseudosciences. Some states allow it, some don't. But we've got that still coming in. So let's see. Let's do that. Redirect. Building the portal. There we go. All right. It is time for lunch. Take a deep breath. We'll be back. More trials to come. Tonight, when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone. Make their day just a little bit better. Please stay safe. We go live again at 1:15, 1 hour from right now. We're going to continue. Portal is activated. Grab the hand of your portal buddy and make the jump. I promise it's painless. I can't promise it works, though. You guys have a great lunch. We'll be back in a little bit. Tuesday, halfway in the books. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Be good to each other.
What more do you need to see?